I'm not superstitious. Start the show over.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
And Sunday, November 16, 2014, it's time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 670.
This is No Agenda.
Dodging Jack Frost, who wants to roast my nuts here in FEMA Region 2 in the heart of Gotham, New York City. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's no nuts to roast, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
All right. Well, it's the improvement is about we're at about 90% now.
All right, it's better than nothing.
I am running on the hotspot.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, well, it's the only.
After they suggested it, we should explain to people. We started the show a few minutes ago, and then we had to restart it because the connection was crap. And then somebody suggested he use his hotspot, which is a little device that hooks to the cell networks, and he berated the person.
It's different than that. It's not quite. If someone said, "Hey, I know, maybe you should try a mobile hotspot," instead, in chat room style, it's "You should get a hotspot." I was like, "Yeah, thank you, thank you very much." "You should get a mobile router." "Yeah, thank you. I'm using that too." It's like I have every combination known to man. It's just the what is the word I'm looking for? It is it's just chat room speak. You know, it's how people are in chat room. They just think that they can just say stuff like I'm a douche.
They don't think they can say stuff.
No, they do.
They can. That's why they do it.
Exactly. Anyway, all we're trying to do is bring you the best podcasts in the universe. Every single time, regardless of location. And I have to say, it's a little frustrating for me when the only thing that is just not stable is the connection wherever you are. It's really infuriating sometimes.
Well, especially when you're in the Big Apple.
Yeah, well,
you think they have good connectivity.
Actually, I think Manhattan is pretty much known for really, really bad connectivity. Residential,
right?
Yeah. Oh, I hear nothing. Yeah, I hear nothing but complaints from people in New York City, in Manhattan itself. Yeah, it's very hard to get any kind of decent connection here.
Well, it's 11, 16, 14.
There you go. Somewhere.
Well, they're talking about bad connections.
Yes.
I have. Oh, by the way, I want to say this before we begin. So I went downstairs and got my ranch hand.
This is your WD-40
ranch hand. I'm going to tell people what this is so they can try to find it and then buy it. It's not cheap. So it's called Ranch Hand Spray Lubricant, powered by Thermolube, which I guess bought this company, and it is the slipperiest stuff ever. And so I put it on this. I have a mic stand, not a mic stand, but a big one, like a floor one.
A boom arm thing.
Yeah, a boom arm.
Yeah.
And so I sprayed it in there. Of course, now it makes zero noise. I can go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You use cameras, whether it's a digital still camera or a movie camera. There are tripods out there that the pros use that cost $10,000 or more. Mm-hmm. And you've seen these things.
Oh, yeah.
And if you grab the handle of this thing and pan the camera, it's like glass.
Yes.
It's like that. These things are just astonishing to use. You can go, it's just like, wow.
And it's some kind of hyper hydraulic damping something or other in there.
Yeah,
that makes it really nice.
Just what it just feels right. And then if you go and do what I do and buy like a nice $20 tripod, slightly different in quality.
Yeah.
You try to pan with it, you get jerky, you just can't do it unless you go real fast.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try this. I'll bet you with this ranch hand, I can turn a $25 cheap tripod into a professional feeling piece of stunning gear.
I wish we could turn our $12.95 per day internet connection at the hotel into like a $20,000 line. That would be nice. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, make sure you get your money back.
Yeah, it's just
since you're on the little hot spot.
Yeah, I am on the little hot spot, the Freedom Pop to be exact.
Yeah, I would complain to the hotel, say this is no good. I want my money back.
So we're in New York,
and they will give it back.
We're in New York here for a very good friend of mine, his 50th birthday, and I thought it was a good excuse for us to come to New York, and of course to go see Uncle Don, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow we go up to the farm to go see him. And first of all, let me point out this trip started off on the wrong foot.
Oh, good.
Yeah. On the way to we had an 8:15 flight from Austin, and I want to print out the tickets the night before, and I already see, and this is not good. I'll go get them at the airport because for some reason, TSA decided, Miss Mickey, the foreigner, she can have pre-check, but you can't have pre-check.
What?
Yeah, they do this from time to time. Yeah. Yeah. So they decide of the two people traveling, the one who has been, deported from the country, the one who has been flagged, consistently stopped from a fluid re-entry into the country. No, she's good to go. Take the law-abiding, tax-paying citizen and deprive him of pre-check. And
you couldn't get a boarding pass.
No, I got a boarding pass, but not with the pre-check qualifications on it.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Well, that's hit and miss. Okay.
Well, that's bullcrap. I'm a trusted traveler.
No, well, what can I tell you? They got to check on you to make sure it's the same Adam Curry, not that guy in North Dakota.
By the way, I want to point out I said fluid re-entry. I just want you to know that goes along with your ranch hand. And by the way, I'm not believe this ranch hand, this branding, it has porn written all over it. I don't know what kind of...
It does.
This is not
It
okay.
looks like the label looks like some, they got some guy with a rope.
It's really... They do not.
Yeah.
A guy with a rope?
Yeah, that's on the label.
Okay.
Some cowboy looks like he's wearing chaps.
Hey, girls. Yeah, well, I'll bet he is.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Anyway, so did something new.
And by the way, it's called a penetrating lubricant.
No, you're bullcrapping me now.
I am not. It says multi-purpose penetrating lubricant.
Hold on a second. I could put this in the show notes. Can you buy it on Amazon? Probably.
No, you have to really go buy it from the source. It's very hard to get. It took me like hours to find out how to buy it.
What did you hear about it? Oh, here it is.
You go to www.ranchhandlubricant.com.
I got it right here. It's on Amazon.
Okay. They want too much at Amazon. I think that's the problem.
Let's see. An 11 ounce.
Whoa.
11 ounce Ecus Magnificus Ranch Hand Spray Lubricant. Yeah. Okay. Let me see the picture. Kind of hard. You can't see. Yeah. There's a guy with a raw. He's an outline, a silhouette.
Yeah.
It looks like he has a whip, like a one of those rawhide bow. What is it? Whip.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Designed for the rigors of the farm and ranch industries. Can tackle a variety of household, commercial, industrial, marine, and sporting needs. Interesting. Okay. All right, onward. So I did something. I did something new while here in New York. And
wait, stop!
What?
You've jumped a story.
What story? I got through and got the other side.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, I thought you said it started ignominiously.
Well, this made me very angry, particularly because Miss Mickey was sitting on the other side with some woman whose husband had exactly the same thing, and they're sitting there snickering.
Oh, that's because of the lesbians that run DHS. We know that. There's already been a scandal.
Yeah, but Miss Mickey and this lady weren't lesbians together. It's just a general woman thing. This is all part of their plan.
That's why they were snickering. They know about it.
So we arrive at JFK, and for the first time ever, we try an Uber.
Oh, an Uber in New York?
Yeah.
I heard it's controversial there.
I think it's controversial everywhere, depending on what side of the taxi industry you're on. Now, and I don't know exactly why I've had this antipathy, or I've had a thing about I don't know about this Uber. I don't know. I just never felt good about it. I never tried it.
I would never even take any of those things. They just get on that little that train. Takes her right into Manhattan. It's fast.
No, there was some problem with the train because actually we were planning on doing that. And there was some issue with I don't know. There was something going on this particular day or between hours. I'm like, forget about it. And I'd never used this app. I of course I had my iPod Touch, so I had to go outside in the freezing cold and turn on the Freedom Pop because, as you know, I don't carry a phone. And there was, of course, there's a guy waiting right there. And I have to say, it was a pretty enjoyable experience. Although I have to say, there's one piece of it that is kind of bullcrap. You don't really get a full pricing up front. You know, you can get if you know how the app works, you can click. It'll give you kind of an estimate. And the other night we already got one of those surge pricing, so it's 1.3 times the normal price. And no, I don't think that the pricing is really transparent, or that it's that you really have a good idea. And it's definitely more expensive than a yellow cab, just from my own experience in New York. But the quality of just tapping and then someone showing up at exact moment when the app says the person's showing up, and not being some just crazed cab driver, pretty good. I have to say it. They've won me over. From the airport was $60, which is too much. It's too much. Well, although it was a Suburban, so I'll give them that at the same time.
That's nice.
Yeah. I don't know. So it's and of course then and I already knew before I even went through the TSA, I should say, I realized I have a complete duplicate set on the Best Podcasting Universe Ultimate Podcast System. I've duplicated everything except for the actual the U audio device, because that's too expensive to duplicate. But I have duplicate wires, duplicate microphone boom. I don't have a duplicate microphone because it's really expensive pieces I can't duplicate. And as I'm going through this ordeal, I remember, I took the microphone off, and I have duplicate cords, but I forgot to take the mount off of the mic arm in the studio at home. And for the Rode Procaster, which I use, is a very particular mount that screws onto the back of the microphone.
So you're holding it by hand.
Well, I was prepared to do a gaffer tape thing, and I called around. I wound up taking an Uber to on Friday to Sam Ash Music, who did not have one. I called the importer; he didn't have one, but Sam Ash had at least a kind of a generic shock mount. Which listen, this thing's not going to win any beauty prizes because it really doesn't fit. So kind of tried to slide it over the mic, and it's working. So another one of those things, just like of all the things I wanted to have.
You know how this is solved? Checklists.
Right, but this was the first time. You're right, and I didn't expect. Well, the whole point is not to have a checklist. I have the bag and everything's good to go. You're right, checklist.
I have a on my travel checklist.
Yeah,
what I have.
We've done your checklist. Toothbrush.
I know, but one of the things you have to I had to have on the checklist because it happened to me twice.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wearing a belt?
Okay.
Twice this happened to me. I showed up and here I am. I'm in Chicago, and I got no damn belt.
So I should have
a belt.
I would have the bag. I do have a check. I got I got the D-Star. Always bring the D-Star with me. And the charger for the D-Star. Always bring that. You never know what would happen.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we here Friday and we have it all planned out. And I had purchased through StubHub, which was not cheap, but
StubHub.
I know I wanted to take my girl out because this show has been sold out. We went to see the Carole King musical, Beautiful.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I think it won quite a few awards.
Outstanding musical. And
yeah.
I wasn't able to get orchestra in the middle, so we were orchestra a little bit off to the left, which was okay. And so a couple experiences here. One, and I told Mickey this. She said, I'm going to wear this. I'm like, honey, in New York, people don't dress up to go to Broadway shows. They're kind of scum. And she couldn't believe
because
it.
It's mostly tourists.
Yes, mostly it's all tourists, including us.
Yeah,
but she's like, yeah, but I want to. No, honey. Well, okay. So we looked good, no doubt about it. And while we're waiting, She's, let's do a little selfie with the two of us and the grand piano in the background. People are still coming into the theater, and immediately it's like, no photography, no photography. Oh, sorry. You can't, no photography, even before the show has started. You can't take a picture of yourself sitting there. And the person is yelling. And I'll say it. A lesbian with a crazy short gray hair, like a theater lesbian with a headset on. No photography. No, fuck, man. Sorry. And Mickey's like, wow, you're a rule follower. I said, I got to tell you, I'm cowering in the corner over here. This lady scared me. So, all right, no photography. I have to say, great show. I'd forgotten how many songs Carole King had written. I'd forgotten about the relationship between her and her husband, and Cynthia Weil, who of course also wrote some phenomenal songs. And it was, in a way, it was kind of like a Jersey Boys idea, where the songwriter's life and how some of the songs were born. For instance, Locomotion, right. Which
That's
was
one way of going cheap on the production.
It's totally cheap. Actors were great. But here's the thing. We were the youngest people in the theater. And I believe that this is a poor marketing.
Oh, yeah, right. That's because you're the only people in the theater that actually... nobody younger than you knows who the hell Carole King is or cares.
But if you if you hear Locomotion, Little Eva, or the Righteous Brothers, or if you all the Drifters songs... Up on the Roof. I mean, a lot of younger people have heard these songs, so the marketing somehow is crap, and that's okay, because I don't mind if we're the youngest people. But the
marketing wasn't such crap that it wasn't sold out.
It was completely sold out. Completely.
Yeah, so then what are you bitching about? You wanted to be sold out to younger people? Is that what you're saying?
Let me tell you what I'm bitching about.
Can't afford it?
Here's the only... younger... I'm telling you, I couldn't afford this. But you're sitting there and all these songs, and I'm like, yeah, I'm bopping around, and I'm looking, I was like, people's heads aren't even moving. Not for a single second do I see.
Nobody's tapping their toes?
No, nothing. It was disturbing. And I already got the Tourette's going, so I'm like,
it was an audience of zombies.
Maybe. I was just surprised. How can you sit still? Anyway. I said it was nice. It's been very nice. And we went to the party last night. My buddy JB Miller, who had he was born in 1964, so he said, come to the high school dance 1964, which I think is a tough one. It's a tough one and come dressed like that. Because 64, there wasn't Woodstock. That was 69. But it wasn't quite Greaser's 1950s.
But it was the end of the beatnik era, so you could have come dressed as the Dobie Gillis beatnik.
A few people were. We went more in the. Mickey had a polka dot petticoat, and I had the leather jacket and the jeans and the high tops. And there were a number of people like that. Some were completely 70s. Strangely enough. Anyway, it was a nice party. And we took an Uber. And I felt again like I beat some kind of system.
You're a big promoter of Uber. Since you mentioned the selfies,
yeah, sorry.
Well, it's too late now. You might as well play this little clip that showed up on one of the morning news shows, and I believe it's Good Morning America, which is the worst of them. About the 100 Likes Club. Have you heard about this?
The 100 Likes Club. No, I haven't.
Joining us now, parenting expert Dr. Robin Silverman. What is your whole take on this?
Well, social media.
Sorry?
That should be child psychologist on likes.
Isn't that what I'm playing?
No, 100 Likes Club.
Sorry. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's challenging with the way you like to spell things or write things in general.
100 Likes Club.
I was looking under H. I'm sorry. I got it.
A new social media obsession among teens. That's right, Amy. Called the 100 Club. It's turning Facebook and Instagram into a competition, causing some anxiety for many. ABC's Abby Bedreau has a story for us.
From the moment 14
14-year-old Kayla Canepa snaps a selfie.
I just choose the best one. You can put filters on it.
Writes a cute caption.
I'll put it as Good Morning America Crew and selfie with Abby.
And posts it on Instagram.
There's already one like.
Kayla's quest for 100 likes begins. It's called the 100 Club, and teens are becoming obsessed.
If you're more popular at school, then you'll get more likes on that picture.
I think this is one of the zombies from the Carole King show talking.
That's what I'm telling you.
Picture.
The concept is simple. Hitting 100 or more likes on a Facebook or Instagram post shows your friends how popular you are. Anything less than 100 likes is considered a poor showing, even embarrassing. Like this pic of the back of Kayla's head she posted that only got 70 likes.
I'll delete the picture.
Why? Why would you delete it?
Just because I guess the picture wasn't good enough.
Her friends are feeling the pressure too.
Everyone in school gets around 100 or more, so then just kind of gets us wanting to be in the hundreds.
I don't know, it's just not good to be the only person who doesn't have it.
And all of this anxiety worries Kayla's mom.
If it comes up while we're together, I say, Kayla, it doesn't even matter. A picture of you doesn't need to validate you. That's not you. That's a picture of you.
Experts suggest limiting your teen's time online. But for Kayla, that won't be so easy. Who was relieved to report her selfie with our GMA crew got well over 100 likes. For Good Morning America, Abby Woodrow, ABC News, Los Angeles.
I thought I was depressed this morning after my conversation with Mickey about the Black Pete situation in Holland, but this is reason to move.
I'm telling you, I'm only clipped this for you. You're the one that brought out the thesis, and all this is just more validation.
But
I'm giving it a like.
But what? So they're promoting this 100 like club as some kind of badge of honor. I don't know. It's
if you listen to that girl talk,
I know
she sounds like a dimwit.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I got 100 likes, so I didn't get 100 likes on my back of my head picture. I have to, you shouldn't.
I have to remove this.
I had to I'm going to take it down. I'm going to take it down.
It's no good. I got to take it away because it's not good. Well, then let me get into this other bit of depressing news. It all came to a head yesterday, and I think I believe it is happening again as we speak. In the Netherlands, we've been following this for, it must be 2 years now. This is the Black Pete controversy in the Netherlands.
Black Pete.
Black Pete.
We need somebody should. Maybe our buddy who does the screaming could yell Black Pete.
Black Pete. Black Pete. So we got the Black Pete. Now this is just a quick run. Well, you know what? I'll play the Euronews clip. It probably should explain it, although very poorly. A lot left out, and I think I've figured a few things out on this, on what's really going on here.
Dutch police have arrested around 90 people during a protest over Zwarte Piet, St. Nicholas's controversial blackface companion. Most arrests were made when people protested in a non-designated zone in the town of Gouda. Scuffles broke out at a reenactment of the St. Nicholas story. Many see the Black Pete figure as a racial stereotype, while others say it's not linked to race. All I'm against is black faces. That's all. No black faces. We're here to say that as descendants of slaves who have been abused by the Netherlands, we don't agree that about 300 black look-alike slaves come along here with St. Nicholas.
300 of zoveel black look-alike slaves met de Sint meekomen.
Interesting how the Dutch guy all of a sudden throws out black look-alike slaves. It's a point of note here.
All those people who have a problem with Black Pete, it's our tradition, leave it alone. You have your tradition, so why can't we? It's a tradition which is attracting mounting controversy. Following protests earlier this year, Amsterdam's regional court said that Black Pete gave rise to racial stereotyping and ordered a review of the festival.
Okay, a couple things. So this is the Euronews report. A couple things I have to say to correct the report a little bit. Are you still with me, John? Are we still connected?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Now, this all started, and we deconstructed a lot of this. I believe it was it 2 years ago or was it 1 year ago? It feels like it was 2 years ago.
Two.
Yeah. When a woman named Vereen Shepherd, who is a member of the working group of experts on people of African descent, and this is only a working group of experts who are affiliated with the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, the OHCHR. And this Vereen Shepherd, who had everything wrong, she did not know what Sinterklaas was versus Santa Claus, but her whole mission is to receive payments for descendants of slaves, mainly in the Caribbean regions, which, as you can hear, words like black slave lookalikes, etc. And what I was to continue, so there was a lawsuit. The High Dutch Court the Dutch High Court had to evaluate if it was legal for the mayor of Amsterdam to give a permit for the parade of Sinterklaas and his Black Pete's, who every year come on the steamship from Spain. And mind you, Sinterklaas is the St. Nicholas, who is a white dude with a huge white beard sitting on a horse with a Pope hat. And then he's got a big stick, the golden, what do you call that?
Scepter.
It's not a scepter. I think a scepter is a short version. They call this a stuff in Dutch.
Staff.
Yeah.
Staff. Yeah, okay, big long stick.
A big long stick. And he's got these Pete's. And of course, this is based in slavery. It's from 1600s, whatever. And throughout the years, people have convinced themselves that these Black Pete's they're black because they go down the chimney, and that's how they got blackface. Like, okay, right, whatever, fine. The Dutch invented slavery, by the way. They're the ones that shipped the slaves from Africa to the New World, to the United States, on the Dutch ships. But of course, it's not a racial thing. Then it never was an issue until this working group of experts on people of African descent showed up with this Vereen Shepherd. And she started to make a whole bunch of noise about it. And it keeps cropping up. But in this case, they had buses of people with T-shirts, printed T-shirts on an organized bus, bussed in from Amsterdam to Gouda. And because this is where the holy man lands first. And they had a designated area, a shut-up slave free speech area, I guess. And there must have been 50 or 100, and maybe it was a couple more. And instead of just standing there with their protest, their Black Pete pictures with a big red like a "Do Not Enter" sign on it, they started yelling things towards the little kids, like Sinterklaas isn't real. So the parents are like, hey,
a bunch of killjoys.
Why don't I beat you over the head? And so they arrested a whole bunch of them, and they all get fined. They arrested 60 of them, whatever. And I went through this. I woke up at 3 or 4 this morning, and I see this news, and I know there's another protest like this today. And I'm looking like, is there not a single Dutch publication? I speak the language. I read it quite well. Who has looked at who is organizing the bus trip? You'd think it would make sense for someone to do a little bit of, I don't know, what do you call it? Journalism.
Reporting.
Yes. So it all comes from this Zwarte Piet niet, as in Black Pete no organization, which appears to be, I'll read this to you. Here are their partners. Now this, of course, is in Dutch, but you'll understand quite quickly. The partners of this initiative are the New Urban Collective, the nonprofit Holland Will Become Better, the Dutch Council for Betterment or Improvement of Moroccans, Back to Palestine, Euro-Mediterranean Center of Migration and Development, Platform Stop Racism and Exclusion, the Soul Rebel Movement, the nonprofit, overlegorgaan, the discussion group for Caribbean Dutch people, the nonprofit Think Kabir, the Transnational Migrant Platform, the Commission for Filipino Migrant Workers, Platform of Filipino Migrant Organizations. I mean, this is more of this UN crap. That's all of these organizations somewhere have a connection back to the United Nations. And I think, as I then listen to this clip,
any of the pieces of advice in this letter sound more like something you would...
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong clip. Forget the clip. As I read this article that the parents of Michael Brown, the kid who was killed in Ferguson, Missouri, where everybody is on pins and needles for this grand jury yes or no indictment or arrest of the police officer and others in the police force, that they were invited to go to Geneva and to talk to a different department of the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. This is the terrorism, or what is it called? The Torture Department, the Committee Against Torture. And this is it's the same United Nations
well, what do you
division.
think they're up to? I mean, why would they send these people from Ferguson there?
Thank you. I think the United Nations, at least this division, is out to racially divide everybody. What else are they doing? There's no... Okay, yes, I can see where Black Pete can migrate over time, and they have a yellow one called the Cheese Pete. You got the Rainbow Pete. You got the Pete that has just smudges of black because he went down the chimney Pete. And then there's calls for the gay Pete, the lesbian Pete, the naked Pete, whatever. Fine. The Netherlands is very good at transitioning and changing itself slowly over time. It's a modern, multicultural society. Yeah, I agree. But this is provocation directly from the United Nations. And I think there's an overall agenda here. We have no proof on Michael Brown. We really have no proof that his hands were up or down. They've got now this poor family, these parents, and I think when they divorced, I don't know if they're traveling together. It doesn't matter. They're being whisked off to Geneva to talk about how horrible and torture is in America. And now all of a sudden, Anonymous has popped onto the scene and is exposing that every single member of the Ferguson police force is a member of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, come on. There's something going on here, which
doesn't make any sense.
Have you seen this? This is...
Yeah.
And you look at the comments, and people are all in. There's no question. Anonymous. Well, of course, they must be good guys. They must be all in on the truth. I'm suspicious of the overall involvement of the United Nations, in particular, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. I'm very suspicious now of what the heck they're doing. They're causing trouble.
Trying to get money. I think it's a money grab. This sounds like a world-class upgrade to the Jesse Jackson scam.
Interesting.
You know, where you go around, all right, we think that you were discriminating. We're going to start protesting against your company and call for a boycott. Oh, by the way, you haven't donated to our cause.
In fact,
here's a check. Okay, bye, thanks.
Did Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson go along with the Ferguson parents to Geneva?
I don't know, but Sharpton be the one who would do it. Sharpton showed up in Ferguson immediately.
Right.
Looking for is another way of making more money.
Let me see if Sharpton.
I think Jackson may have too.
I don't think either one went along.
Well, they're probably irked by that. Well, of course, it's a different scam. Yeah, but if the United Nations is just using this as an extortion scheme, why would they want two other extortionists in the game?
They're cutting them out, is what's happening.
Yeah, you definitely cut them out.
Yeah, so they testified. Here it is. The parents of Ferguson teenager. What is it? Michael Brown have testified before the United Nations Committee. I'm sorry?
I'm saying, unless they're eyewitnesses, what are they going to testify to?
I don't know if there's video. Yeah, I think they probably did. But this was the Committee on Torture, which by itself is, an interesting take on it all. So anyway,
maybe the Dutch aren't paying their fair share. That's the deal.
So the crazy thing is, with all the stuff that's going, I mean, if you made it a burqa, Pete, it'd probably be okay. It's fine. Pete in a burqa is okay in the Netherlands. But if you really look at what they're arguing,
I like that. Let's go with burqa Pete.
Burqa Pete. If you look at what people are arguing about, it's so insignificant, really, in the overall issues that are taking place in the Netherlands, in Western Europe in general. The whole, just everything. They're in a financial spiral. They've got people petrified, can't talk about. There's still no resolution on the MH17 flight. Zero resolution. They still have not released the black box information. And of course, we got this the other day.
Russian state-controlled TV has aired photographs.
I love it. Russian state-controlled TV. You just start it like that, and you know it's got to be fake.
Purportedly showing a fighter jet firing a missile at a passenger plane over eastern Ukraine. Channel 1 said the images supported Moscow's theory that Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 was shot down by a Ukrainian fighter jet.
Did you see any of these pictures that surfaced all of a sudden? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
And they've been around. We've seen these pictures for, I think, 2 months at least. And there's no real... It's just pictures. It's just pictures.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
A crash that killed all 298 people on board. But the Ukrainian National Defense Council says the photos are forgeries.
This fake was debunked within 30 minutes. Woo! It turned out to be a very crude falsification.
The finger-pointing hasn't stopped since July's crash, with Moscow and Ukraine blaming each other for destroying the jet. The photographs were published on the eve of a G20 Summit where Russian President Vladimir Putin faced strong criticism from Western leaders for Moscow's actions in Ukraine.
This, of course, is what that's the timing of it all, obviously.
Yeah, I want to transition to the G20 stuff that I have.
Good.
But you got to conclude whatever you were concluding.
Okay, I'm just going to wrap it up by saying I am very skeptical. I am severely, and I have family and friends who work at quote unquote respectable publications in the Netherlands, Volkskrant and Elsevier, and neither of them have even taken the time to expose who was financing these groups who are. You ship people in, or you bus people in to go protest, all wearing T-shirts with the same print on it. It's called being provocateurs. And instead, they talk about this divide in the Netherlands. Oh, people are divided. Bull crap. You're being manipulated. And they're either complicit or they're too stupid or whatever the problem is.
Or both.
Yes. I hate to call my family and friends stupid, but you're stupid. And they're not doing their job properly. And all roads lead back to the United Nations, to this high office on human rights. And I see them doing nothing but, including with this Ferguson thing, which is I don't think is time yet to have anyone testify before the Committee on Torture. I don't think we're there yet. We need a couple more things to happen. So I'm saying the United Nations is stirring the pot, and I will accept your thesis and keep an eye out for the age-old scam of, was it blackmail? No, extortion, thank you. I'll keep my eye out.
Legal extortion. No. I mean, there's illegal extortion where you hold a gun to somebody's head, which is also robbery.
Yeah.
But this is a scam.
It's also not nice. It's not a nice thing to do.
No, nothing. Yeah, none of these things are. Any time these same characters are involved over and over and over, and it's pretty obvious what they're up to. Yeah. So the G20 was on, and this whole thing seemed to be just a setup to harangue Putin.
Mm-hmm.
And let's play a couple of clips. The first one is France 24 on G20 Putin snub, and it's got a little tidbit in there with Obama again bringing up the downed airliner.
Smiles belie the mounting tension. Brisbane has turned out to be a very lonely place for the Russian President Vladimir Putin. The stated focus of the G20 meeting is the global economy, but Western leaders kept piling pressure on Russia over its role in the Ukrainian crisis.
Well, what we've done so far is a combination of sanctions, and I think Russia knows that if they continue down the path of destabilizing Ukraine, there's likely to be more of the same.
Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper spoke in less diplomatic language. You need to get out of Ukraine, he told Putin, according to his spokesman. US President Barack Obama delivered a sharp rebuke during a speech at the University of Queensland.
We're leading in opposing Russia's aggression against Ukraine, which is a threat to the world, as we saw in the appalling shoot-down of MH17.
Oh, wow. Wow. He just blamed him on it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's uncalled for.
A lot of nerve.
That's not okay.
Yeah, it's uncalled for. There's the black box information hasn't even been revealed, and there he is blaming him.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, the report was very negative about, and it's always about Putin. And to show you we're no fans of Putin for people out there, but we just see this as being somewhat illegitimate. But now they talk about Merkel. Everybody's against him. They wanted him out. You know, they were blaming him for this and that. The Merkel thing was kind of murky because they didn't have any clips from her, and I don't know that she was saying anything. But you play this little short clip here, which is it's number 2 on Merkel, and you see it's vague.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel said tensions over Ukraine were hindering efforts to boost growth. And French President François Hollande almost skipped a diplomatic handshake. Oh. A customary photo shoot with a koala was less frosty, although somewhat awkward.
Oh, yeah, the koala Photoshop. That was great. Did you see this?
Now,
the koala picture... I'm sorry?
Yeah?
Can I talk about
I was going to say Merkel. I would mention this. The way they set this, you can't hear me?
I can hear you. I'm listening.
The Merkel, the way they put it is as though Merkel had something to do with the complaining about Putin. But if you listen to it carefully, what she was complaining about was everybody else bitching at Putin. Yeah. But Merkel is on his side in this.
Yeah, they're will good
not
buds.
Portray that. Just play the beginning of this clip again about Merkel and re-listen to it with it in mind that her complaints are about the complaining.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel said tensions over Ukraine were hindering efforts to boost growth. And French President François Hollande.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it's... I am collecting. There's actually a great website, and I think I've added the feed to the noagendanewsnetwork.com. It's a Tumblr blog. I think it's something or other G20. And what they do every day, there must be 20 different articles about how Russia is just happily doing business with Europe and with the United States. We talked about the Goldman Sachs, leading their $700 million quick little fund for a Gazprom, and it's all posturing. And all I see, John, is the war is the new economy. We need to have this Cold War so we can ramp up military purchasing and spending. I mean, my goodness, we had
how much more can we spend on this crap?
Well, here is.
Let me finish this little thing first.
All right, sure.
I just want to get this last little piece of propaganda out of the way, which is the France 24, the clip number 3. And this is where they tried. Now, apparently, Putin, the thing is over, and Putin gave a press conference and blew out of town. He was always scheduled. They tell you this, but they don't present it properly. They present it as though Putin got, the way it makes it sound when you hear this clip, Putin got fed up with all this criticism about him and being snubbed, they wouldn't shake his hand and all the rest, and he just left in a huff.
We don't know for sure that he did actually leave too early, because he was scheduled to fly out, to be one of the first to fly out. But he certainly did give a press conference before the Australian Prime Minister has had a chance to release the communique, which should have been done about half an hour ago, but obviously has been delayed. And during that press conference, Putin said, well, we've had cooperation here in Australia, but has been difficult in some areas.
But we had this revelation. Yeah, so obviously, bullcrap. We kind of discovered the simplest way to look at North Korea and South Korea is make North Korea look like they got a whack job with his finger on the button. They're going to attack, of course. South Korea would be the first one to go. And with the knowledge that the United States is moving out of the defense role for South Korea in 2015, we're selling all this stuff to them. $1 billion here, $1 billion there, get a couple Patriots, and that's just ramping up. With this Putin thing, with the knowledge that, so for instance, Sweden, there was this big news, we've got this Russian sub, never found the sub, no proof of it whatsoever. What is Sweden doing? They're increasing their military spending. We need better submarine tracking equipment. How obvious is that? Then we have Hagel. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any video/audio of it, but he did a keynote speech at the 2014 Reagan National Defense Forum. And in this keynote speech, some quotes, the Department of Defense is undergoing a defining time of transition. We face a reshaping of our enterprise by a fiscal environment. This is, of course, all about the increases in spending from the so-called sequestration, plagued by budget uncertainty and a large decline in resources, and by an historic realignment of interests and influences around the world, i.e. Putin. And here it is. We face the rise of new technologies, national powers, and non-state actors, as well as sophisticated, deadly, and often asymmetric emerging threats ranging from cyber attacks to transnational criminal networks and persistent volatile threats we have faced for years. And his entire speech is about we need defense innovation. So the White House, on whitehouse.gov, announces push for next generation of high-tech weapons. This is all this in the same day. U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel has announced Pentagon will push into cutting-edge technologies to develop new weapons. The U.S. will pursue an ambitious program to identify and develop new weapon systems based on cutting-edge technologies in a bid to maintain its dominance. It's so obvious. And you throw a couple cyber things in there, which I actually have a little cyber segment which I want to do after we thank some people. But first, let me play for you Cameron's piece of Cameron's speech from the G20. This is the Prime Minister of the United States of Gitmo Nation East, and he is going to tell us where terrorism comes from. Do you have any thoughts on the underpinning reasons, the basis for terrorism?
Well, I could be from disgruntled subway workers.
Yeah, that's. But I'm thinking a little more broadly.
On the bus? Mugged on the bus?
A little more broadly. So some would say maybe.
Poverty is one of the old-fashioned.
Poverty, yeah, poverty. Poverty. Poverty is one.
It's been debunked.
It's not poverty. Okay.
Radical Islam. That's where most of this is coming from the perspective of these crackpots.
So besides poverty, which, by the way,
radical Islam
poverty is exactly what I think it was Ben Rhodes, the guy who did counterterrorism for Obama. He wrote this paper, the book, and poverty was one of the main reasons for radicalization. The other one is, this is a typical one. Hey, you're invading my country, right? That's sometimes a reason.
That would be a problem. Yes.
Yeah, like, hey, get the hell out of my country, man. That's another one. All of these debunked by Mr. Cameron. And it's very obvious. Yeah, we're going to hear from him where terrorism really comes from.
But as well as
wait a minute, stop. Can I make one last guess?
Okay.
Putin.
No, you don't get to win on that. No. No. It's even better. In fact, you'll find that you and I could actually be to blame for terrorism if you listen closely.
Uh-oh.
But as well as dealing with the consequences of this threat, we also have to address its root cause.
Root cause.
And let us be frank, it's not poverty.
It's not poverty. Do you have a pen?
Okay.
And can you cross that off the list?
I got my pen out and ready.
Is it the pen that I advised you to purchase? That's your own pen.
Oh, okay. No, I forgot to get that pen.
That's right. Okay, so it's not poverty.
Though, of course, our nations are united in tackling deprivation wherever it exists.
So we're actually, not only is it not poverty, we're all over that. We're okay. On top of the poverty issue.
It's not exclusion from the mainstream.
It's not being marginalized, not exclusion from the mainstream. Okay.
Of course, we have more to do, but we are both successful multicultural democracies where opportunities abound.
Everything's good. Multiculti, everybody's involved, hold hands, tell secrets, kumbaya. That's not it.
And it's not foreign policy.
It's not foreign policy. It is not at all going in and grabbing oil and minerals and kicking Chinese out and all the whatever. And working with Saudis, Qataris. It's not it.
Now I can show you examples all over the world where British aid and British action have saved millions of Muslim lives.
We're saving Muslim lives. This is not just America, but the United States of Gitmo Kingdom United East, saving Muslim lives. So that's not where it comes from.
From Kosovo to Syria.
Huh?
But that is not actually the real point.
Oh, here it comes.
In our democracies, we must never give in to the idea that disagreeing with a foreign policy in any way justifies terrorist outrages. No, the root cause of the challenge we face is the extremist narrative.
There it is. Extremist narrative. It is the narrative of the extremists.
So we must confront this extremism in all its forms.
That's right. Podcast. Get rid of them. Extremist narrative. That literally.
What does that even mean?
It means the speech, the form of speech that speaks of terrorism.
It's free speech is what they're going after. This is one of our themes of our we have to talk about this on the Christmas show. The clamp down on free speech is everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he said
terrorist narrative.
And he said in all its forms. Its forms, which is blogging, podcasting. In fact, I think it should be thinking.
Well, 1984 was written about the UK.
yeah, no kidding. Well, with that, for as long as it lasts, John, I'd like to thank you for your courage in protecting free speech and say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to all of our human resources there in the chat room, which is still a free speech zone, although, I don't know. It could turn at any minute. In the morning to
I'd rather shut him down.
In the morning to our artist, 20-watt bulb provided the art for episode 669, and we appreciate that. Always looking forward to what the artists bring us. Today's episode 670 episodes of the best podcast in the universe, with every single one a best album art in the universe. Now, that said, producer-wise, I think we're not doing so great.
No, we're having a slow period. By the way, I also want to thank Martin JJ for the art in the newsletter. Sir, we do have one executive producer and 4 associates to thank for show 670, including the topped off by
Philae. Hold on,
Oh, that's not his theme.
Please rise to recognize the contributions from the Grand Duke of USA himself, David.
There you go. I like that.
In the morning, gentlemen, enclosed, please find a donation that should be enough to complete Tom Kumbera's posthumous knighthood.
Oh, wow.
Please send Angela and her family some no agenda karma.
Oh, that is very cool. Oh, fantastic. Well, he's done. Angela's wish?
Yeah, he's done.
Within 3 episodes. Wish. That's fantastic.
You've got karma.
Oh, that's very nice. We'll be knighting him later, posthumously. First posthumous knighthood, I think.
Yeah, I believe So Shane Peden in Cartersville, Georgia, 26439.
Now, did we not already do this donation on the last?
I'm looking. I've been getting small amounts for years. My donation date is full circle to knighthood.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because we said happy birthday.
How did he get back in?
Well, I think what happened was his donation was late for the Thursday show, but we did want to say happy birthday to his daughter, and he
we got all that in.
Yeah, so good.
Huh.
So we actually have 3 associate executive producers for this show.
Now, we're down one associate executive producer, so we only have 3 now. Sir Snorkel in the North Lakes, Queensland, Australia. Donation for Sir Snorkel while putting up with the G20 fighter jet. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Putting up with G20 fighter jets at 7:30 in the morning. Thank you very much. Wants a call out to Ultraman in Pittsburgh. Recently hit him in the mouth. He's loving it now. Ultraman, the douchebag clock is now ticking.
Douchebag. Thank you, Sir.
It wasn't ticking for long, was it?
Sir Snorkel.
Yeah. Rob Van Dyke in Erpen, Holland, 22222. Keep up the good work. I'm drunk and love yez, guys.
We need more drunk donations.
Yeah, we haven't had any recently. Well, we have a few. Well, for all we know, they're all drunk. Martin Anderson, Copenhagen V, 5th. Copenhagen 5. It must be a district or something. In Denmark, $200. So we had one guy from the United States and then an Australian, a Dutch, and a Danish guy. And he says he's applied for a sysadmin job in Switzerland and would like some job karma. Have a great one, Sir Martin in Copenhagen.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
What?
That's it. That's what we got. Show 670. Well, hopefully things will pick up before Christmas. I want to remind people, go to Dvorak.org/NA or channeldvorak.com/NA for the donation page. Also, NoAgendaShow.com and NoAgendaNation.com both have buttons you can click on, which takes you someplace that also has a donation list.
This is one of those rare occasions, even when your newsletter pretty much spelled it out and just said, this has been one of the worst weeks in modern history for the show.
Yes, as a matter of fact, if we go back 5 years, we were doing better on these Sunday shows than we've been doing, and I think people are just either
broke.
Maybe they could be broke, or they're. Although we have a lot of students who are broke that donate, so it's not much of an excuse. And I don't know. It's just maybe there's the doldrums. I'm not sure. It could be the news itself.
I mean, we're always making
the show's becoming depressing.
We're always making excuses. It's the dog days of summer. What do you call that in the winter? Exactly.
Well, the dog days of summer are actually. I'm sorry, but the dog days of summer, which really is August. This little streak that we're going through here is uncommon. I don't remember this last year. I'll have to look at the numbers, though. I could be wrong.
There must be something. They could just be. I don't know. It's possible that people are just so depressed.
Global warming.
Yeah. Well, and also, I don't know. Maybe just people are tired of hearing truth. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, we do have a few people who bitch about it. Not many. Most people think, well, this is great because I figured this was
now I feel better. Yeah, I feel better about myself, and I feel better knowing what's going on. And also, I think a lot of people have become very cynical. That whereas I think if you listen to us, we'll make you even more cynical, but at least we'll give you some punchlines to use. Around the office.
Yeah, you get something to you get to snicker.
You get some material.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Well, okay, if you're not supporting us that way, we'd love for you to support us by going out there and propagating our message.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
I'm just reading in the chat room some people saying that their college days were their financial highlights. Yeah, well, that's also possible.
There's a lot of people are getting ripped off.
We got a new video. New video. New Caliphate beheading video from the IS.
Oh, yeah. Some guy was beheaded again.
Yeah, and this is Peter Kassig, who was beheaded. And the different format for the video, and very interesting. They've
probably taken it from a different Turkish movie.
Actually, this one it's so hilarious. This is now a 16-minute video. I defy you to find a 16-minute video of this particular ISIS video. We will have it in the show notes, of course. Most of it unusable for the show, as it is Arabic with subtitles, except for, and it's really funny. So here's this guy. It looks like and sounds like Jihadi John. This is the guy who our very own administration is saying, yeah, we think we clipped his wings there in that last bombing run. We're pretty sure we got him, not so sure. And then lo and behold, we get this video. Now, we don't know if it's the same guy because it's just a guy dressed from head to toe. And I think it's a new black outfit, John. Not a crease. I mean, this thing is just brand spanking new. Beautiful.
I bet you he keeps it hanging while he's in his underwear. So when he goes out to perform, he doesn't have any creases. It's an old stage trick.
Now, in this particular video, with his beautiful white sneakers, he has what is intended to be Peter Kassig's head already beheaded between his legs on the ground. I think the Adobe After Effects are quite good in this one. And the green screen is now so obvious. I mean, it's at about 14 minutes into the video, and again, we'll have it in the show notes. It's just becoming funny how utterly ridiculous this video production is. Here's the about a minute of audio that as it pertains to this so-called beheading. We're not even seeing the beheading now. We're just seeing a head, I believe, to be photoshopped into the studio floor with a backdrop that you can see the edges of this black suit. It's green screen. This is not someone standing in the desert.
This is Peter Edward Kassig, a U.S. citizen of your country. Peter, who fought against the Muslims in Iraq while serving as a soldier under the American army, doesn't have much to say. His previous cellmates have already spoken on his behalf. But we say to you, Obama, like our Sheikh Abu Muhammad al-Adnani said, you claim to have withdrawn from Iraq 4 years ago. We said to you then that you were liars, that you had not withdrawn, and that if you had withdrawn, that you would return, even if after some time. You would return. Here you are, you have not withdrawn. Rather, you hid some of your forces behind your proxies and withdrawn the rest. Your forces will return, greater in number than they were before. You will return, and your proxies will not benefit you. And we also remind you of the haunting words that our Sheikh Abu Mus'ab al-Zarqawi told you. The spark has been lit here in Iraq, and its heat will continue to intensify by Allah's permission until it burns the Crusader army in Durbaq. And here we are, burying the first American Crusader in Durbaq, eagerly waiting for the remainder of your armies to arrive.
Okay, so what you did not hear, because it was only in Arabic and subtitled in this 16-minute video. Here we have a little translation. To Obama, the dog of Rome, today we are slaughtering the soldiers of Bashar, and tomorrow we will be slaughtering your soldiers. And with Allah's permission, we will break this final and last crusade, and the Islamic State will soon, like your puppet David Cameron said, begin to slaughter your people on the streets. Now, this translation and this video in its entirety are only available by subscription, which is how I receive it through one of our producers who, in this case, I'm not going to name him because I don't know if he wants everyone to know that he subscribes to this and he gives these to us. And so I have the high-res 250 megabytes of this video, MP4, and I'll upload that so everyone can take a look at it. This all comes from the Site Intel Group. Now, we've talked about them before. We need to dive in a little bit deeper. SITE. the site Intel Group is run by, founded by Rita Katz. And Rita Katz is very interesting, and I caught her on an interview the other day, and I have a clip of that. And I can't forget what she was on now because I've had it for so long. I've had it for a week almost. Initially, she was anonymous in this group. And if you go to siteintelgroup.com, you'll see that they sell their intelligence. And they have, if you go to the homepage, siteintelgroup.com, you'll see that they have two services. One is, hold on.
Well, how do you spell this?
Okay. S-I-T-E.
Yeah.
S-I-T-E.
Got that?
Yes. Intelgroup.com.
Oh.
And you'll see they have...
I had .com.
No, that won't do it. For individual consumers, they have the Jihadist Threat Monitoring Service or the White Supremacist Threat Monitoring Service.
Oh,
and for government and business, they have the Monitoring Service Enterprise, where you can get primary source jihadist media and access to all jihadist videos. It's a bonanza over there.
What does Enterprise need this for?
To protect yourself. I don't know. However, I will tell you a little bit about Rita Katz.
Okay.
She is reading from the Book of Knowledge. Born in Basra in southern Iraq to a well-to-do Iraqi Jewish family. After the Six-Day War and shortly after Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party seized power in 1968, her father was arrested on charges of spying for Israel. It's a crappy background if you want to be kind of clean on what you're doing. The family's property was confiscated by the state, and the rest of the family put under house arrest in a stone hut. The following year, after having been tortured, Katz's father was convicted and executed in a public hanging in the central square of Baghdad to the roaring applause of more than 500,000 Iraqis. The government offered free transportation to people from the provinces, and belly dancers performed for the crowd. Wow, what a party. Katz's mother managed...
Sounds like a cheap James Bond script.
Right, and this is the woman who is now helping us catch jihadis. Do you see that there's maybe a little conflict here in the background? That maybe she has an issue with, Arabs?
Or maybe the whole thing is bull crap?
Possible. So she worked for a number of... in 1997, she began working for Middle Eastern Research Institute, and as a result of her research, she realized that the Holy Land Foundation was a front group for Hamas. Now, this is something we've talked about on the show. Wanting to examine it more closely, she attended a fundraiser of theirs dressed as a Muslim woman. You might remember this. Soon thereafter, again, disguised as a Muslim woman wearing a burqa, wearing recording equipment, she began attending Islamic conferences and fundraisers, visiting mosques and participating in pro-Palestinian rallies in the U.S. as an undercover investigator. So she's got a bone to pick. And now, of course, she sells her intelligence to the U.S. government and to the media corporations. And she was interviewed on this program about the radicalization of these 4 Colorado girls. You remember this from a week or two ago? And they went off. They caught them, luckily, just in time to bring them back because they were all ready to give themselves to ISIL, the Islamic State, and become whores of the jihadis. And luckily, Rita Katz tracked them down.
Oh, right.
Through their social media accounts. Right. So I figured it would be interesting to listen to this Rita Katz and how she talks. To have a better idea of the sole source, I might add, the sole source of every single ISIS beheading video has come from her organization. And she has all the high-quality stuff. This is not the YouTube stuff. This is a full-on MP4, high-quality, with great After Effects.
Some pretty shocking revelations from the online social media profiles of 3 Denver girls stopped on their way to join ISIS. The 2 sisters and their friend Ages just 15 and 17 are now back with their families in Colorado after authorities intercepted them in Germany last month. They had stolen money, skipped out on school, and intended to cut all ties with their families.
You know, this comes from the terrorist narrative, don't you, John? This is how this always happens with these girls.
Terrorist narrative.
And the West. Rita Katz, the director of Site Intelligence Group, traced the social media footprints of those girls.
Woo, and social media footprints. Write it down, baby.
Rita, I want to talk about the fascinating things that you found, but first just tell us how you did this.
A lot of work, internet searches, trying to identify the girls, going through their accounts. And what is very useful here is our jihadi database.
Oh, the jihadi database.
That helps.
I got to get me one of those. You think that's Oracle? Or it's just MySQL? Or maybe
yeah, it totally has to be. Yeah.
Maybe it's an Access database. Yeah, just like one of those.
Of previous Twitter accounts that existed, because in this report I actually described and analyzed the communication that they had with some ISIS recruiters to other cases of Americans that were also radicalized, showing that they were actually following the same ISIS, pro-ISIS accounts or ISIS handlers.
Okay, now, let me just get this straight. She has a database, and in that are Twitter accounts and other social media accounts of jihadi recruiters for ISIS. And not that it's just a Twitter account. No, it's clearly there are real people behind this. And these are the handlers, I tell you. So through 140 characters at a time, they are able to convince people to come out.
And really, your report focuses specifically on one of the girls. She went by the online handle Grape, I believe it is, and you'd watched her attitudes change. What struck you about the radicalization that you saw?
The interesting information is that you could see how the girls were transformed from a loving, caring, totally typical American teenagers to jihadists who are willing to leave everything behind, separate from their family forever, to the degree that they lied and stole money.
By the way, this happens all the time with teenagers. They'll lie and steal money and get on a bus and go try and hook up with some dude somewhere, or they'll run away from home. Are you still with me?
Yeah. No, I thought you had a punchline there.
No, I was hoping you would jump in there and say, yeah.
Well, no, it was alien to me. My kids never did any of the above.
But we've heard stories of this. This is not uncommon. But
yeah, it happens all the time.
So she spent her valuable time tracking these social media footprints in order to this is CNN, I believe, to go on national media to tell people how dangerous this is.
We're talking about a girl that a year before that was asked, what is the thing that you care about most in your life? And she said, my parents and my family. And it's the same girl that a year later was willing to go away, marry an ISIS individual, ISIS fighter she never met before, and settle in a war zone, and bringing a new family to the Islamic Caliphate that was announced. I mean, we have to understand that the recruitment campaign online is very aggressive from ISIS side. They were able to import the war.
They were able to import the war. Here it comes. They were able to import the war
from the password-protected message boards to the mainstream media.
Password-protected message boards to the mainstream media. Woo!
To social media, to Twitter. And basically exposing everybody in the West and all over the world to their worth. So in the study, I describe in her specific case, Grape, for instance, her online changes.
So this is a study, and I don't have a copy of this yet. She's selling a paper, a white paper, a study on how these children are radicalized. This is a sales pitch for her.
Okay.
Through her, one of the social media websites called Ask.fm. And
Ask.fm is now, remember they were on top of the list of that. Remember that list when it first came out, the first Snowden revelations?
I think so.
Through that site, you could see the transformation from being a very innocent American girl that, for instance, one of her questions was, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, and we're talking about only a year ago, she said, I want to be in the fashion business, and suddenly asked the same question a year later. She said, all I'm thinking about is paradise, and I hope to get married soon. And we're talking again about a 16-year-old girl. Now, when we reviewed the social media accounts of the three girls, 3 of them had between 7,000 to 12,000 tweets. This is a huge number, especially for individuals that, so young. That means that they had to be online for hours. But one of the...
I think she messed it up here. She should have gotten them into the Like 100 club. And she would have had a real opportunity here to show that is... if once you're in the Like 100 club, then your next step is Syria or Iraq.
Interesting points that we were able to find here is that they actually admitted online on their interviews, on their questions. Grape admitted, she said, I live on social media. I'm always tweeting and I'm always on YouTube.
And that's really, I think, that's it. Spending so much time online, you can see they just had such a great level of exposure to these recruiters, and they were sort of there to have that time with them.
And I would recommend you take a look. It's in the show notes. Take a look at this. They have kind of a teaser of their white paper. It's really good. The female jihadist living under IS is a picture here, and it's a lady in a full-on burqa. I guess it's a lady, a full-on burqa with a laptop sitting in some rubble. And I guess that's proof that you're tweeting or something. And then
it sounds like yeah.
So I am just going to say this is a part of this. There's no other way. This is propaganda. They're the ones that I think are producing these videos. She certainly, Rita Katz certainly has the contacts and the means to do this. It's high-end production. We knew that we needed some kind of upgrade. Selling paperwork, selling papers to the government. All is proof that we need to ramp up because ISIS is now recruiting our loving teenage girls who only want to be ballet dancers, and they love their family and their friends, and they want to go to the mall, and all they want is the ultimate sacrifice, marry the jihadists. This is bullshit.
Well, also you'd think if this operation was legit, they wouldn't be going through domainsbyproxy.com.
Yeah, I know.
Which means there's no details on them. They're covering up who's really running this operation.
Well, she was
something called Wild West Domains.
She was anonymous until someone outed her as running this group. She was anonymously running this thing. So come on. And this is the only source of these videos, the only one.
So you're implying that actually produced the videos?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I'm implying that. Yes, I'm not afraid.
Aren't you?
Yeah, I'm totally implying that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
If this is the only place videos crop up, and then they plant them all over the place,
and then they take them down. Then they take them down.
To his voice.
Yeah, they got little edits everywhere, so you can only see 1 minute or 30 seconds, and you're not going to see the whole thing. It's totally bogus. By the way, you're cutting up real bad. Am I the same on your end?
Yeah, you suck.
I was going to say maybe we should reconnect and try something, but if you don't, you want to try that?
Well, if you want to, we could. Let's do it. I'm going to do it right now.
Okay, might as well. It's worth a try because it's so hard to have a conversation when it's just. Oh, here we go. You there?
Yeah. Wow, this is great.
It'll pick up.
Well, we're in the topic of all this sort of thing. I've been trying to get this clip. This is a report of the clip, but this is a clip that's got to be hilarious if you could actually find it. And this has to do with ISIS, and it's Dempsey versus the midgets.
Oh, yeah, I read about this. I'm glad you got it.
Moving on to the world news now, and U.S.'s top soldier, General Martin Dempsey, has told U.S. troops in Iraq that momentum is turning against Islamic State militants. On a surprise visit to Baghdad, the general said the militants were not a force of 10-foot-tall fighters, but were instead a bunch of midgets running around with a really radical ideology.
Yeah, you know.
Hello, Kettle. This is the pot calling.
Really, Dempsey?
You know, I don't know. How tall is... You don't know that Dempsey's short.
He's short. Come on. He's a leprechaun.
He looks short. I know. We all see him as short, but what if you find out that he's 6'2"?
Well, I'm going to look right now. How tall? I was also thinking that this Cats woman is probably not very tall. Dempsey.
She seems like about 5.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's, it should be on the Wikipedia.
No.
Well, we know it's not on the Wikipedia.
Okay, what is the height? I want to do a search. How tall what's Dempsey's first name?
Martin.
Martin, exactly. Martin Dempsey. How tall is Martin Dempsey?
This is something the chat room could actually help us with a crowdsourced search.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any. It's not Wikipedia. It's not in that little summary you get from Google. Jeez.
But we'll probably be able to find someone next to him, so we'll get an idea.
Yeah, well, he might be wearing lifts.
Well, I will retell my story of Michael Jackson when I was going to award him with the Video Vanguard of the Decade Award, which forever was to be now named the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. And we were starting the ceremony there in his studio in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden he stopped. And he had his guy come over, a little whisper in his ear. Guy came back with a crate, and he had to. So he was standing on the crate.
An apple crate. Yeah, how tall? The full one.
Yeah. Well, he put it on his side though, so it was probably about 3/4 apple crate. Michael Jackson was not really.
By the way, that's what you're supposed to do when people out there and you're watching TV and you got some midget standing next to some guy who's tall.
Yeah,
it's because they're not doing their job. You're supposed to put the midget on a crate. On an apple crate or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
but they're usually painted black so you can't see them. And you can have a half a one, a quarter one, and a full one. And if you get up, I think they're 4 inches. It raises you 4 inches.
Yeah, that was about it. Michael Jackson, not a short guy. If you Google Adam Curry Michael Jackson, you can see the picture. It's on the interwebs. And you'll see that he's standing next to me. He's almost as tall as I am. And there's a Christmas tree growing out of the back of my head. It's one of those great MTV shots.
Fantastic shot. Now, here's a picture of Dempsey shaking hands with somebody on this most recent trip to Iraq. And Dempsey's at least 2 inches taller than this guy he's shaking hands with.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
And he actually looks kind of big.
Oh, boy.
He looks kind of big.
Yeah, I'm seeing it, too. Well,
He's not even standing up straight.
Well, here's what we need to do. How about Obama Dempsey picture?
Because Obama's what, 6'3", 6'4"?
I think he's 6'1".
6'2".
I think he's 6'1".
No, he's taller than that. He's at least 6. And by the way, did you notice the Attorney General's another twerp shrimp?
That's what we do best. That, by the way, that's not the first thing most people said about the new Attorney General, John.
What, that she's a twerp?
No.
Shrimp?
No, that's certainly not.
If she's 5 foot, it's a miracle.
So I think Dempsey's probably, I'm looking at him and Obama. I'd say I need a full-on shot. Yeah, if he's 6'2", okay, this is a good one. I got this. I think Obama is 6'2".
Oh, here's a good one.
Yeah. 6'2". He's a good...
I think Obama is... No, he's at least 6 foot. And because here's Obama walking down the aisle with Dempsey, some other guy, and Obama's in the middle, and their front feet are all pretty much the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
And Dempsey's top of Dempsey's head comes to Obama's eye line.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would mean the size of Obama's forehead, which I think he's 6'4". Maybe
and
6'3".
her head is gone.
Yeah.
I think it makes Dempsey 6 foot. I think he's a 6 foot.
Then he's allowed to talk about midgets, I guess. That's okay.
He is the shortest. Now here's Dempsey standing next to the Navy guy and that Marine guy, or I don't know who he is. Big. That's a big guy, though.
Yeah. No, he's not as leprechaun-y as I thought he is. Okay.
5'11". Would be my final answer.
I would say that's close enough. Anyway, this is
the only show that discusses this stuff.
which feels
no
it's
wonder
important.
we're getting no donations.
Yeah. More in the Caliphate. By now, you've probably seen a lot of people have run this. The wag the dog footage of the brave Syrian boy running to rescue the girl, which turned out to be completely set in scene by some Norwegian filmmakers. You saw this?
Yes, I did.
Which, of course, was propagated by the Sham Network and the El Sham Network, and was seen the world over. The video itself with millions and millions of views. This is completely wag the dog, and this is more than likely not the only one of this. I'm sure there's bad things happening. There's no doubt there. But we're just really not seeing any of the real, anything that seems real at all. And certainly not these beheading videos. And then I think I got this from the BBC. We've been, ever since General Wesley Clark said that he felt Saudi Arabia may be, up next, as a part of the translation of this video. Sights are clearly set on Saudi Arabia by Islamic State.
Huh. That may be the whole point of the whole thing.
What would it? Okay, let's if we try and deconstruct that. If the whole point is to rubbleize Saudi Arabia?
Well, yeah, that would be a start.
Okay.
I mean, the Saudis have a problem anyway because they've created this Wahhabist state church for all practical purposes. And it's kind of one of the Salafist radical styles of Islam that believes that you can't have pictures on the wall and all these sorts of things. And they, you can't have photos. It's what we first heard of. The Wahhabis are the first group we heard of after 9/11, even though it's a broader range of people. And it was never mentioned that the Osama bin Laden, for example, was a Sufi who the Wahhabists hate. So there's a lot of confusion regarding this. But if those guys are cut loose, they would take down the royal family, even though the royal family has been funding them. And most of the mosques that are created by Saudi money, which many in the United States, are all promoting the Wahhabist vision of the world, which is, I don't know, the Saudis feel that it becomes like a buffer state around them. So the royal family is buffered by this surrounding Wahhabist community, and so they feel protected. But if you have the ISIS guys rolling in there, this could be interesting. But then again, the Saudis got a huge army.
And from
lots of weapons.
And how about from a resource perspective? We know already that they're the ones that are manipulating the price of oil down, which is very advantageous for us. But there is a point where that doesn't really work well for everybody. And do we just want to?
Well, the ones who are taking the shorts are the Russians,
right? So ultimately, it's all about that.
Right, we're going to stick with that theory. So if they're rapidly dropping oils to screw the Russians like Reagan did, we would be inclined to help the Saudis. Right. We would like them to do this sort of thing.
Right.
So why is it in our interest to let the Saudi Arabian Peninsula get rubbleized?
Well, this is my question. I don't understand.
It's a lot of work, and they already got the whole thing running fine.
Right. But then,
I don't know. There's no reason to do it.
Then why would we have? Okay, yeah. There's no reason. But still, they want to push IS in there. ISIS. I don't know. I find it complicated.
Maybe just to teach them a lesson.
Yeah. Cyber for a moment, John. We got a lot of cyber news going on. Unless you want to take us somewhere else with some other. You want to?
I do have we can take ourselves to a pre-break here with a kind of an Ask Adam.
Oh, okay. Is it kind of, or is it really? I mean, that's always.
It's not the kind of normal Ask Adam. It's a little different.
Ask Adam. Ask Adam. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I got a Banky Moon. It says Bonnie Moon. Test for Adam, because you're the one that brought this up, by the way.
You're not going to ask me to tell you what he's saying, are you?
Yes, exactly. You got it.
Okay.
Tell me what he said.
I got to put my head into the right space here. Okay. All right. All right, I'm ready. Here we go.
I encourage the leaders of Myanmar to uphold human rights.
I encourage the leaders of Myanmar to uphold human rights.
Take a strong stance against the incitement.
Take a strong stance against the excitement or incitement.
And ensure humanitarian access to Rohingya living in vulnerable conditions.
Yes. We have a Burberry condition. It's very cold.
You got it pretty well, except to the end.
Yeah, this is about Burma, which, by the way, Uncle Don consistently says Burma. He refuses to say Myanmar. There's some. It's
supposed to be Burma again.
Yes. And I have it here. This is under the Freedom and Democracy heading in the show notes. So the president our president, Obama, had a press conference with Aung San Suu Kyi. And we have a fact sheet from the White House. I do like the openness. Not that anyone reads this except me, I think. I don't know who else reads this stuff. The fact sheet, U.S. assistance to Burma. Now, we know that the Chinese are all over Burma. There's a pipeline that runs right through that area, which they're trying to take over, blow up, get rid of. And we have now proclaimed assistance, which reflects the U.S. government's goal of supporting Burma's democratic and economic transition. Economic hitmen. Since 2012, the U.S. government has provided over $225 million in assistance to Burma. What is that? Drop in the bucket? We're doing 30 times that for stupid Ebola. In fiscal year 2014, the United States provided over $150 million. That must just be payoffs to someone. What can you do with $150 million?
Nothing.
No.
Not the way they spend money. You can maybe rent a car.
This is nothing. Let's see. What is it? National reconciliation. So our assistance builds networks of cooperation and understanding. Oh, NGOs. With Burma's diverse citizenry and strengthens processes for peace and national reconciliation. Oh, here it is. U.S.-funded programs, John, have increased the conflict mitigation capacity with 35 local partners. NGO funding, ladies and gentlemen. Democratic institutions, number 2 on the list. U.S. assistance builds the capacity of democratic institutions, NGOs. Oh, in the last year, the U.S. government provided assistance to over 300 civil society organizations throughout the country. Hey, freedom and democracy coming your way, Burma.
Good luck.
How disgusting is that? And why aren't we in Burma with an NGO?
Why aren't we, you and me?
Yeah, getting some of that money. Uncle Don lived in Burma, too, for a while. It's in his book, Pot Charge. I'll have to ask him.
So you read the whole book?
Of course I did. Mickey read the whole book. Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't gotten through it.
U.S. assistance provided clinical services. U.S.-funded programs have reached over 20,000 individuals. That's for HIV, emergency food assistance, Peace Corps, regional cooperation. Yeah, I'd say this is a lot of pre-economic hitman stuff that really seems almost like a waste other than some posturing for a measly $400 million for the president to go show up for some press conference. But okay.
Yeah, let's take him out.
Her.
Well, all of them.
It's
break them.
Yeah, it's a her. Okay. Then I think we should.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show
670. Nice connection, by the way. That's lovely now.
Yeah, well, these things are flaky. So now I sound normal. Let's start the show over. Ready? Hit it.
Okay.
Adam Curry, John C. DeVore.
I'm not going to do
that. We could actually do that.
No, I like this
Christopher Dolan in Berlin, Connecticut. Want to thank him for bringing in $111.11. Also, Mac Tank in La Jolla, California. $101.01.
This is what Mac Tank calls the palindrome 101.
Palindrome. Karma to the hosts and donors. We'll put that at the end. We also have a job card for some guy who just needs it desperately.
I'll line it up.
Did you get that note I sent you?
Yeah. Do I need to get it?
Well, you should find it while I'm reading these names.
Okay.
Caesar Gray in Zapopan, Jalisco, Mexico. Thank you for your courage. One of the two people from Mexico that listens to the show here with my second donation, just a small token of appreciation. He wants some karma, house buying karma. Put that at the end. We need information from you, Cesar. Also, by the way, we did get one note from one of our contacts down there who says that something's going on right now.
Yeah,
and that is needs some discussion because. According to everyone, we're the only ones who've even mentioned what's going on in Mexico. The mainstream media doesn't want to discuss it because it's right on our southern border. So we're apparently more concerned about what's going on in the middle of nowhere, all the way on the other side of the globe, than what's going on south of, Austin.
Also, a couple of notes we received from Mexican producers. Pretty much every single one of them says, yeah, it's not good here. There's not going to be any coup. The military and the politicians are all playing together, and it's just a mess.
Yeah,
not anymore. You know what it is? Here's the problem: it's a mess, and they don't have the Kardashians or Real Housewives of Orange County. That's the only difference.
Well, it's a mess. It's horrible. Corwin Underwood in Hamilton, Ohio, $100. Eric Asbury in Brandon, Florida, $89.10. Marsan Zawadsky in Yardville, New Jersey. I'm sure it's Marchan or something, but I've got Marsan is the way I see it. Ed Zolo in Rostravor, South Australia.
They belated sack of sevens from Ed there. Thank you.
Yeah, 7 for him, and also for Marchan Zawatsky, 77. Von Glitchka in Salem, Oregon, 75. Andre Schmid in Lausanne, Switzerland, 71.43. John Haller in Missoula, Montana, 69.69. Michael Shoemaker in Kelseyville, California, 69.69. Sean McCorkle in Arlington, Virginia, 67. Colin Peterson, 67. Bellingham, Washington. Ned Jeffrey in Dural, New South Wales, 67. Sir Brian Ferguson in Foothill Ranch, California, 55. Real Growers in Fort Collins, Colorado, 55.10. Double nickels on the dime.
He wants he wants to hire the Cote d'Ivoire consulting group to point us in the right direction. I guess they have a growing business in Colorado. Do they need some marketing advice?
Real Growers.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Yeah, it's possible. We can help everybody.
Anybody and everybody.
Francis Lambert and Zabak.
Hey, that's Croatia. I don't think we've...
Yeah, Croatia. I think there's a second donation from Croatia. Someone from Split.
Oh, and this is... Francis is going to become a knight today. That's right. Yeah. Sir Krovados. Is it Sir Krovados? I think that's what it was. Let me check.
Krovados, which I think is Croatian something.
Let me check my notes. Yes. Francis Lambert becomes Sir Krovados. Cool.
I've been to Croatia a couple of times. Very nice place. Very pretty women. Mark Cable, Roberts, and they all look like Natalie Wood. I'm telling you, it's the strangest thing. You see a bunch of, it's not like they all look like Natalie Wood, but you see so many Natalie Woods. It's like, what the?
Where was she from, Croatia?
I don't know, but that would be my guess at some point. There's Croatian in her. Mark Cable, there's a little Croatian in everybody, apparently. Mark Cable and Robertsbridge, East Sussex, double nickels on the dime. Sir Inside Job, Seattle, Washington, 50.33. The following are all $50 donors. Matthew Byington in Valley Stream, New York, James Isaac in Wichita, Kansas. Jonathan King in Gahanna, Ohio. I knew all the city names in Ohio. John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma. Amitav Hadra in Daleville, Virginia. Josh McDonald in Mount Waverly, Victoria, Australia. Patrick Thomas in Petworth, West Sussex. Chris Slewinski in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, where something all exists. Ben Lloyd in Denver, Colorado. And finally, Michael Floyd in Katy, Texas, which has a train called Katy. And Chris Frenthway in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as well as our buddy down the street, Sir Alan Bean in Oaktown, California.
I would just like to remind people who listen to this program, perhaps the newer listeners, that the way we finance our operation is through pure donations from the producers. We don't call you listeners. We call you producers. You're not the product. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're working on your behalf. We work with you. You work with us. This has been going for 7 years. This is a dip. But we're still probably at about 1% of all people who listen to the program and produce it who actually supply us with financing. And we need people to step up. It doesn't take a lot. It's not like, I love when people say, I can't afford it. $5 a month? Seriously? Okay. You can't afford $5 a month. Okay. Well, you may recall that I said to John, I said on the last show, I said, I have a business idea. And for the first time in 7 years, we remembered to talk about it.
It's not a bad idea.
After the show. And we're going to have to do this as a backup. And I'm not saying that people, maybe they just broke, whatever it is, fine. Maybe they don't like our show. It's also possible. I don't know. That's another way of expressing it. I just think people are not participating. They're easy. They're complicit. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't have to do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. If we've entertained you for the past, what is it now? It's almost 3 hours every single episode. If we entertain you, please, you have to support us. We will have to find other things to do at this point. And I really wanted to plan the trip to Australia for the Hot Pockets tour.
That would be great. I think you'd belong in Australia.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen at these levels of support.
That would be true.
It's not going to happen.
We do have a couple of things we want to throw out there. Let's get I need a de-douching for Thomas Butterick.
Okay. And by the way, for the question in the chat room, yes, this is also entertainment. The whole idea is to give you news and to give you something to laugh about it. So it's not only it's entertainment, it is healthy for you. All right. What is the de-douching, John?
Thomas Butterick. He had something. He's always sending us stuff.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
And then there was a guy who's...
I can't read... On the email...
No, we're at the end. We're going to give the massive job karma, and I just want to mention Chris Perry's name because he's going to get part of this job karma.
Okay.
Who sent us a note that he was screwed by state of Maryland in some way. They talked him into taking a better paying job than fired him.
Oh, no. Oh. Okay, so he wants a job karma, a couple other karmas we had in there, so let's roll
jobs,
that.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I don't know, man. I look at myself like I woke up at 3 for 2 hours. I'm trying to investigate United Nations and how they're screwing people and dividing nations. And then I'm disappointed. Get this. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I got a hot wife. I should be doing other things with my time. I don't know. I mean, you got nothing better to do, maybe.
No, I got nothing better to do. This is pretty much all I have to do on a Sunday.
Are you going to Twit today?
No. I'm going to probably go next month sometime.
Yeah. So maybe in 2015, if you're lucky. And they'll let you back on again.
That's possible.
All right, please.
Dvorak.org/NA.
So we had a little bit of confusion, but I'll just do it just in case. Sir Shane Peden says happy birthday to his daughter Lainey, who turned 6, but I believe that was on Thursday. And I will say happy birthday to my dad, Jay Curry, turned 75 today. Happy birthday from all your friends here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Not that he's listening to the show.
Now, why bother?
Exactly. Why bother? And then we have...
is Mickey listening to the show, or is she out shopping?
She is. She just came back in. She was out. She had her iPhone with earphones. She listens all the time.
Huh.
Unless she's doing pictures of naked girls with Sir Gene.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gene's the guy.
But then she downloads it and she listens to it on the plane. Yes, she listens. This is the only person who, besides, well, you and I don't really talk about the show.
No reason to. We already, the shows we do a little post-mortem.
Yeah, just a quick one.
If you have a grouse.
It's never like, hey, great job. No, like, hey, you suck.
No, that's what post-mortems are for.
Yeah, it's mortem. The mortem word should be should be the kicker right there. Okay, we have 2 knightings today. One very special one, so I'll grab my blade there, and I'd like to have Francis Lambert step forward, and then Tom Cumbera. Tom, I know you're up there thinking about us somehow, and we are very proud to induct both of you into the round table of the Knights and the Dames. And I hereby pronounce thee Sir Krovados and Sir Tom Cumbera, both of you Knights of the No Agenda Round Table. For you, gentlemen, hey, Tom, hookers and blow, take one for me, my friend. We got porn stars and pot, whiskey and wet wipes, cannabis and Cabernet, geishas and sake, bong hits and bourbon, and mutton and mead. And I would like to make sure that we send Tom's ring to Angela. And so,
yes, but Angela, if you're listening, go to
she's not listening. She's in the chat room. She's not only listening.
Oh, she's in the chat room.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so this knighthood for Tom posthumously was presented by a number of producers, including an anonymous baron. Of course, today we also had Sir David Foley, Grand Duke of the United States, check in and complete the knighthood. Beautiful, very nice.
Close the circle, as it were.
I like that. It's really nice. Really, really nice. Okay, how are we doing? This has been a strange show.
Well, it's because we have issues.
Well, every show we have issues.
No.
We got issues. All right, the cyber...
let me get a little side stuff out of the way.
Yeah, okay, good.
Local. By the way, I do have something if we want to.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep this in, or you can just keep this and we can do it anytime you feel like.
Okay.
But I have I was listening to O'Reilly, and he brought on...
Oh, this is because you don't have CNN. This is why you're watching Fox, yeah?
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
But he brought O'Neill on, the guy who shot bin Laden.
Oh, this is the other guy who says he shot bin Laden.
Yeah, the other guy who shot bin Laden.
Yeah, there's a couple guys who did this. Apparently.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all.
But who threw him in the ocean?
I have a very long clip that has the entire... with, of course, O'Reilly guiding him, the entire walkthrough that seems like a lot of discrepant and questionable information that would be worth just going through, listening a little bit, talking about it, listening a little bit to see what, because I'd like to get your take on it. Maybe we could even do it in a future show after you listen to this, because this is a very questionable, description account. That's the word I was looking for. It's a very questionable account, and it doesn't seem to necessarily make sense.
Okay,
but I thought was interesting is it says he shot Osama twice in the head, and then after being shot twice in the head, gave him the old double tap. Shot him when he was down in the head.
And so the significance of this is only because there's 2 competing books and they're both trying to compete for the screenplay, for the movie, or what do you think this is?
I think it might be that. There's probably some movie rights involved. I know that this happens a lot.
I mean, why does anybody care? A guy who was already dead in 2001. In fact, I believe the Fox News Channel themselves reported that he died of dialysis, of kidney failure in 2001. We have no pictures of this. I just got to remind everybody, because it drives me crazy when these things are discussed and we overlook this. Oh, we threw him in the ocean because, we didn't want the Muslims to get angry. Hey, how'd that work out? Muslims are angry.
They'll never be angry again.
Yeah. Then we can't show you the pictures. That would be too horrific. And
they can show us the pictures of dead kids in Gaza.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing. These excuses are all self-contradictory.
Okay, I'll give it a try, though. I mean, I'm game.
We don't have to do it now. You can do it in the next show. I don't care personally. It's long, but if you want to listen to it, I think it'll make you. I don't know what it's. That's what I was wondering how you'd feel about this description as it rolls along. Want to try it?
Well, I'm okay. I'm definitely in for trying new things.
All right, well, let's give this a shot.
The downside is that Rear Admiral Brian Losey, commander of the SEALs, has strongly criticized Mr. O'Neill, saying he violated SEAL protocol about talking about the operation, that he should not have done that. Here now is Robert O'Neill. First of all, why did you go public? You knew what the protocol was. You knew the Admiral is saying we had a tradition, we don't talk about it. You knew all that. Why did you go public?
I wasn't planning on going public with this until this summer when I went to the 9/11 memorial with the intention of donating a piece of. I want to donate my shirt and the flag that I wore on my shirt into the room where Osama bin Laden was living. While I was there, I was sort of on a stage to give an impromptu talk. I started to talk to them.
Okay. He was sort of on a stage for an impromptu talk.
Well, the other thing is, what does he say when he says he wants to donate his shirt and his flag, which is the sewn-on thing, to the room that Obama was in? Did they take
Osama.
Oh, brother! Everybody does it. I don't care.
I don't do that.
But Osama, the room. Did they take the room out of Pakistan and move it to a museum or something?
Oh, they may have. It may be in the George Bush Museum. Oh no, it would be the president. No, I don't know. But I have no idea. And first of all, protocol, and why were neither of these guys on the helicopter that got shot down?
Well, that story's seems to. I know what happened to those guys. I mean, that whole helicopter story it came and went, and now apparently there was no helicopter. Nobody was in it. That helicopter story still is annoying.
Yeah.
As I was talking, I was looking at the audience. No dry eyes in the room. One woman in particular told me I didn't close a chapter in the worst thing that's ever happened. I closed the entire book, and she was not afraid anymore.
All right, so you believe by coming forward that the pain experienced by the people who lost loved ones on 9/11 and the entire country would be assuaged a little bit because you...
No, stop. Show me the picture of the guy's blowed up head, or show me the picture of you throwing him in the ocean. Show me something other than two guys competing with a book deal. Sorry. And O'Reilly, screw you too.
Could tell them.
And by the way, if you listen to this carefully, I want to see if you can find it. I mean, it's easier to spot on the television, but there's a huge, massive cut where they cut out something.
I heard a couple edits.
Oh, there's probably it's been edited down, but there's one spot where it's just like, wow, what the heck was in there? But anyway, onward.
Hold on a second. Is it not that the Osama room is in the 9/11 museum? How sick are we? How sick are we? Here,
that is sick.
Museum unveils exhibit exploring raid. Oh, hold on a second. I'm getting sick of this. I'm looking now. Oh, a new exhibit includes this uniform and shirt from a Navy SEAL Team 6 member. Oh, there you go. The 9/11 Memorial Museum has opened a new exhibit focusing on the search for the ultimate killing of Osama bin Laden. You know what? I can't listen to this. I'm sorry. I'm going to think I'm going to get very mad. A coin donated by a CIA operative who pursued him, and a brick from bin Laden's compound in Pakistan. Is this what we've come to in America?
Brick.
There's a brick. It's the brick house, everybody. There's a brick, and we put it in the museum, and this is where we go to mourn.
It's very postmodern. I mean, the first ideas of this was that, I forgot, it was a toilet or something. I think it was in the 50s, 60s. But the idea is you take just some piece of crap and you put a frame around it. Now it's art. So anything, a dog turd, the duck whistle, duck call, anything.
The brick from bin Laden's compound in Pakistan has been at the 9/11 Museum since May. The exhibition contains photographs as well, including one of President Barack Obama and members of the National Security Team in White House Situation Room on May 1st.
Oh, that's the picture with Hillary.
Yeah, let me see what else.
Now, here's the question I have. it seems to me that they're not taking advantage. I mean, the U.S. Mint and the post office know how to do this.
Yeah.
Why didn't they tear down that whole thing, take all the bricks?
Like the Berlin Wall.
Take the bricks, right, and sell every brick for $1,000. They would have sold out in bricks. I wouldn't, but I think a lot of people would have bought this is a brick from Osama's compound. I think people, a lot of businessmen, Silicon Valley types, people who buy, Bill Gates has a huge piece of the Berlin Wall about the campus of Microsoft. I think it was a money-making opportunity that they just passed on. And we don't know where this brick came from.
As a citizenry, and this is global, this is not particular to America. It's the same in the Netherlands, where you have a plane full of Dutch people shot down. There's no answer. There's no not even a black box. There's some bullcrap report, preliminary report. We put CNN does a live procession of body parts in coffins. Everybody's it's a day of mourning. Then we do another. We just had another day of mourning. And we have beautiful talks by our ministers. And meanwhile, everyone's psyche shuts down, and we accept these little trivial tokens of bullshit that are supposed to make you feel better about the travesty that took place, which was really value the lives of these people at lower than whale shit. And it's the exact same thing with this. Yeah, and we have this memorial, and we have this building. I look at this building, and it represents strange things to me. And now we have this memorial. We'll put a brick in there and a flag, and we'll have militarized opening ceremonies for every football game. We're pathetic that we allow this to happen. It truly is sad that we take these little trinkets and little tokens as that we should accept as this will close the book on the grieving. It's pathetic. No one stands up anymore and just this is. Do they even?
We do.
Do they? Yeah, well, but we're older. Do they even teach kids about the Emperor's New Clothes in class? Is this book ever read anymore?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. Someone just needs to stand up and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is utter bullcrap. This is really, really unacceptable bullcrap that is taking place here."
Well, we have some kids that listen to our show that do that in their high schools because they usually end up in detention.
Yeah, I was going to say they get shut down. Hey, that
troublemaker.
That kid clearly is on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, needs help.
Yeah,
I will listen to this.
Give him some drug.
Would you mind if I'm just going to get very angry? I don't think it's helpful for me or for the show.
I'll tell you what. I knew you wouldn't get through it, but I tell you what. Let's go one more little thing where it really irks you. You can shut it down then.
Okay, all right. Just keep going from here.
Yeah.
Look, we got him.
Oh, look, done. Look, we got him.
We got the guy behind us. That's essentially it.
That's essentially it.
90 minutes in the helicopter. You go from Afghanistan into Pakistan. You know what you're going there for. You land in the compound.
The helicopter crashed.
Laden's compound. Get off the helicopter. You go in the compound.
He's forgetting the whole crash part. What happened to that?
First thing you saw.
Well, the first thing I saw in the compound was looking up at the actual house that I've been studying for so long, and the first thought was, "Wow, this is some Navy SEAL stuff. This is so cool that I'm here."
Oh, okay, done. This is the way people talk about that landing on the meteorite. You see, this is the fantasy that we play into.
The comet.
The comet. I'm sorry. Oh, this is so cool. We're landing. Who gives? Oh, it's so cool. This is mankind. We're advancing science.
All right, so you were prepared to go in because you had done so much research. But when you get in the door, what's the first thing you see?
The first thing I saw was a long hallway with doors on either side leading to rooms, and then at the end of the hallway was another door that two of them.
It was an asteroid, actually. It was an asteroid, John, not a comet.
No, they landed on a comet.
It's asteroid. Was it a comet?
Yes.
You sure it was a comet?
Yes, I've got clips for it. Go on.
No, I'm not going to play any comic clips.
My fellow teammates were using methods of entry to try to breach the door.
Did you hear anything?
Methods of entry. What does that mean?
I'm stopping this. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Methods of entry. Okay, you can stop it. It's fine.
I don't understand the point of them doing
I'd like you to listen to it, though.
I will.
Not
I will.
now.
I will. I will.
Because I still think there's something in here that you would find that I didn't find. That's why I want you to listen to it.
The whole thing. Yeah, that I hate the whole thing. I think I would like proof that the guy is dead. I think we can handle, as a society, we can handle some photos of something that really looks like the guy. I think we can handle the video, the helmet cam. I think we can handle it. I think we're grown up enough. I think you can do this now. I'm seeing commercials for Call of Duty now on PlayStation. That's
pretty gruesome.
There's more action in the commercials for Call of Duty on PlayStation than I'm ever going to get about this whole episode.
I want to divert you now to play the update of the Comet lander. So we know that, the thing about this Comet thing, you haven't touched on this. This thing, even though it started 10 years ago and they're so proud of themselves, essentially the thing is a fail.
Yeah, I'm so sad that you can't be on Twit today, because this is exactly what we need to be. This is what we need to say.
From what we know, the lander descended as planned to the surface of the comet. It obviously settled because signals sent back to Earth confirmed that. But for some reason, the harpoons meant to hold the spacecraft down did not fire. And there's so little gravity, the lander needs to be anchored. So it drifted up and away from its original landing zone into terrain that seems to be far more risky. Here at Mission Control, they face a really awkward choice. They could try to spring the lander free from its tight spot and move it to a better place, but that would risk damaging it, or worse, just flinging it off into deep space.
Okay, I did some research on
this.
The
thing bounced around and fell into a hole or something, and there's no light, so the batteries are going to go dead, and they don't know what to do. And meanwhile, it's a fail. All they had to do, it had these legs, it had these, I guess, harpoons.
I've heard harpoons, I've heard screws, I've heard different versions
whatever they were, they didn't work.
Well, I was mainly interested in the transmitter portion. And remind you, this is technology from 10 years ago. Right. And I really wanted to understand how they were sending these high-definition images back down to Earth. Yes, there are S-band transmitters, and they are actually quite high capacity, even with, I think this thing is doing 1 or maybe 2 watts. And you need a really big, sizable dish, and it has, there's a lot of, it's interesting to me, this part of the exercise. And then you can send like a gigabyte in a couple of minutes of data. But this is 10-year-old technology. The size and weight ratio seems challenging at best. And really, the battery technology is what has me troubled most about all of this. Because, I'm skeptical enough to say, yeah, great. Okay, I see a shot of a rock, and I've seen lots of animations. And if anything, shame on the American space industry that the ESA, the European Space Agency, did this? And we got shit blowing up. Shame on us. Shame on us if this is really all true. And then, okay, now what? We got some pictures. All I see is that we're distracting everybody now with this poor guy who wore a shirt with some chicks on it, who's been shamed into being a misogynistic a-hole. Very sad story.
I don't know anything about this story.
Yeah. One of the lead scientists, these are Europeans, so he was wearing a shirt with kind of like a tattoo, modern kind of tie-dye type thing. If you search it, you'll find that it'll be the top story, because that's all we're talking about now. And some female journalists were interviewing him, and they were really upset about his misogynistic shirt. And now the guy's breaking down. He's having a nervous breakdown because people hate him.
Never heard that.
Anime pinup.
I haven't followed it. I mean, I've been following the disaster part of it. I haven't followed the human interest crapola with the guy wearing a T-shirt.
Well, but that seems to be the only thing we have left to talk about. And did you see that room? 150 people all dressed up in suits and with pearls and clapping when this thing landed. Okay. But
yeah,
so what worked and what didn't? So did this thing work, or what are these pictures we got from the hole?
No, we got some pictures from the other device that dropped the lander and of the thing going down, and a picture of the comet, nice pictures of the comet from up above.
Okay.
And then we have supposedly there's some pictures of the comet from ground level when it first landed, but then now it's been bouncing around. This comet's tumbling, by the way. It's got very little gravity.
Right.
And so it's tumbling around and threw this thing into a hole, so it's not even on its feet anymore. It's apparently sitting sideways, and there's cameras all around it. So I guess they found one or two cameras that still could take a picture of something. But it's in the dark, and so the batteries are going to drop dead. And it's probably, by this time, by our next show, this thing will probably be dead in the water.
Shut up already. It's science.
Exactly. It's beautiful science. And we get so impressed by these things.
Yeah, it's an exercise in stuff. All right, what else have I got here?
It's an exercise. I thought the transmission part was interesting, but I'm also a bit troubled by the ease. I'm just not. I like investigating these things. And
you think half of this stuff is total horse shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some of it is, I'm sure. Now, can I play one thing that's off the wall?
Anything you want.
I have a clip from Glenn Beck, who has been pulling an interesting. He's apparently dying or something, and he's having all kinds of problems. He's got tears in his eyes. He's crying on the air. He's doing all this stuff. Because we've known he's done this in the past, cried on the air. But, he can do it. JC was watching this with me and watching the crying part. And Beck pulls the tear out of one eye, but not the other. And actors, a lot of them, actors and actresses, if you're taking a lot of this stuff, especially if you started in high school, you can cry on demand.
Yeah.
But
Mickey can do that. Mickey can do that. It's astonishing to see her do that.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
No, it's actually troubling because
it's troubling, but a lot of actresses can do it. And a lot of them can't. And so they have to use glycerin and they do all these things because they can't do it on command.
She just looks at the credit card statement. She's like, "What? Who did I marry?" She's just crying. It's like, you've got no money.
Yeah. And then there's some people that can only cry out of
I love you, but
Anyway, Glenn Beck does it the one eye thing.
I want to make sure that sounded right. But I want to make sure that didn't sound like she's only with me for the money. We all know it's for the sex.
Important risk information at 1-800-757.
Back up. Let me finish. Let me finish setting it up.
I'm sorry.
I believe there is some form of that he's doing some form of neuro-linguistic programming.
Oh, he does this a lot.
Yes, but this one here is one of his assistants or one of his other guys. And I want you to play this right from, as soon as I stop and tell me what you think of what you're going to hear.
Important risk information at 1-800-757-GOLD or goldline.com.
You want to know what's just about as valuable as gold is information, and that's what our new sponsor, Disco Ball, is all about. Our new sponsor up here on the loft is Private. And let me ask you a question. Do you believe, first of all, that our government, when they tell you they're not listening to your phone calls, they're not storing them, they're not reading your texts, do you believe them when they say they're not doing any of that? Because
wait a minute. What is this?
What
is this?
Did you hear?
Yeah,
what was it?
Well, first I heard a pitch for gold.
That was the end of Beck's pitch, and they go to pitch man number 2.
And then there was a pitch for information is like gold. And then there was something sitting up in the ceiling, which was his new, what was that, a listening device? Or what was it? I don't understand.
Well, if you listen to it,
I did.
This is for a company called Privacy Alert or something like that. It's PR.
Yeah.
But why does he drop the word disco ball in the middle of his pitch?
Isn't that what I thought that the product was called? Disco ball.
No, it's not called disco ball.
What does it look like? A disco ball?
No.
What?
He's talking away, and a disco ball comes on, throws a bunch of light on the set. He says disco ball, and then he goes on with the pitch.
Oh, I know what this is. Yeah, that's total. Whenever you see a disco ball, you're going to think of this product.
Oh, that's interesting.
I can tell you, after 7 years, if I belch, which I won't do, but even people who I've programmed with this belch think Senseo coffee because I programmed them with this 7 years ago. It's a trigger word. It's very easy to do. In fact, here's I think we've done this on our show. You're driving in the car right now. You're looking around, and here's what's going to happen. you invariably, certainly in America, but in other countries as well, you'll come to a stop sign. We all know what the stop sign looks like. It's is it six sides? The stocks? Yeah, this is six-sided stop sign. You see this stop sign, you stop and you think, I need to donate to the No Agenda show. Done. That's how it's done.
You mean by telling people that when they see a stop sign,
they will think, I need to donate.
They will think I've got to donate to the No Agenda show just by telling them that?
That's all it takes.
Work?
That's all it takes. There's other ways we do it.
Dvorak.org/NA.
I even get that thing stuck on my head sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that where you're walking around the house and you're just singing, oh my God, I have to turn on the radio or something. Get it out of my head.
Huh. Well, anyway, the disco ball comment.
I think the stop sign is 8 sides. Isn't it octagonal?
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Okay, so now people are going to think Curry's an idiot, and they won't donate. So I've screwed it up already.
No, they'll think Curry's an idiot, and they will donate, but it'll be triggered by Curry's an idiot.
Okay, I have...
they're going to go to the stop sign, they're going to look at it and say, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3,
John,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Don't
count the corners.
John, don't get your hopes up. Just don't get your hopes up.
Anyway, disco ball.
Disco ball. Well, we'll just keep saying disco. You know what? Hey, whenever you hear or see disco ball, think about donating to us. Screw Gen Bleck.
Gen Bleck. Anyway.
All right. The Feinstein Chambliss cyber bill is back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's being pushed very hard by Jim what's his name? Langevin? Let me see what his name is. Langevin. He's I
don't know.
He's a Democratic Party member for Rhode Island, the smallest state in the Union.
Oh, those Rhode Island guys. That's where White House comes from, that guy.
Yes, and he is on, is this with Brolf maybe? He's on with Richard Clark. Actually, Richard Clark now throwing on huge amount of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Remember, this is the Feinstein...
this is the Fund Richard Clark bill.
Yes. And specifically, it is the cyber sharing bill. And this is the one that I think is very dangerous. We need to be very aware of what is happening here. This would indemnify commercial corporate entities from sharing information they believe is important with the government, and vice versa, the government sharing information with them, which they will be indemnified from. They can just be a deputy, the little star, like sheriff star. And this is supposed to keep us safe from these sophisticated cyber attackers who are, this is part of the whole White House and Department of Defense initiative to upgrade our military to more sophisticated levels. So I'm pretty sad to say that this will probably pass.
When I chaired the Homeland Security Subcommittee that had jurisdiction over cybersecurity, and we did a deep dive on this.
There it is again, John. Your deep dive.
Yeah,
looking at how
I got that one.
Vulnerable critical infrastructure is, in particular, how vulnerable our electric grid is, and we found that it's very vulnerable.
So what can
Idaho
happen?
National Labs actually did that study that showed that the generator through a skater attack. That's a systems control and data acquisition system.
You recall this is the exploding generator, John. This is where it all comes.
Why is this guy adenoidal? Is he on coke or something?
Probably. They're all on coke. Everybody's on coke in this city.
Attack could be used to cause a generator or a number of generators to blow themselves up. And you could see a whole sector of the country without electricity for a period of not just days or weeks, but potentially months, because these generators are large. They're not just like batteries that are sitting on a shelf that you can take one out and plug another one in. These generators take months to build, ship, and install.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yes.
I don't know. We're going to have to find some guy who knows about this, but I'm just guessing that these generators have some sort of a hard breaker that is hardware that isn't affected or can't be affected by some software coming in and say don't work. That if the generator overheats, speeds up, or does something like that, it would just shut itself down. I don't believe this. I've actually never believed this about these generators.
I'd also
what
like
kind
to
of cheap piece of crap are you buying that can be spun out of control like that.
But are these generators that power the grid? Is that what he's talking about?
Well, he's talking about that. But the generators that I guess were the ones that were being used in centrifuge motors or something in Iran that were sent out of control by some software, some code says spin up to 10,000 RPM until you blow up. I'm not buying it.
I at one point owned some very large generators for the data center known as the Data Barn at the Amsterdam Internet Exchange, a very, very good project. 10 years too early. Lost my shirt and lost a lot in that.
You can't be ahead of your time and make money.
Nope. You can't. And these were two large generators that were always kept at a certain temperature. So the minute there was a power failure, of course, the batteries, for the whole data center last about 11 minutes, but you really only need 20 seconds. And these generators, I mean, there's control systems, but you can pretty much flip that puppy on and cut everything off. These diesel generators, they go. And then I agree with you. I don't think but they're probably talking about something else, but it's going to be offline for months and we're all going to die of lack of energy. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like a modern piece of equipment. That's the problem with these arguments. The public, which has been stupefied by the education system, doesn't seem to understand what's going on with anything. To them, technology, is a shovel and you put seeds in the ground.
Yeah.
These things aren't built like that. You don't pay $1 million for one of these high-end generators and let it spin itself out of control and blow itself up.
No,
it's not built that way.
No, but I do have 2 emails in the show notes from dudes named Ben who have been asked to be kept anonymous, and this is regarding the U.S. CERT alert, which is exactly what this is about. All timed perfectly to get this cyber sharing bill in, and both dudes named Ben say pretty much unanimously that control systems are not operated by IT departments internally by these power companies. They're managed by maintenance departments of industrial companies. And actually, one of our dudes says these guys don't even know how to create a new folder. And most control systems are running outdated Windows machines that are enclosed in industrial casing. Big vendors like Siemens, Honeywell never touch any of the systems because they just work. So these systems are never patched, no antivirus. And they both have some very interesting examples of how crappy it is. Yes, this dark energy fear that's being put upon us. It's a lot of fear mongering, but there is something to the severely shit nature of our electrical companies and how they run things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to come crashing down and the thing won't work for 3 months. I agree with you. That sounds like baloney to me. Onward.
So, Richard Clark, what can be done to prevent that?
Well, very little.
Very little. Unless
that show's over.
Hire me.
The thing here to really bear in mind is this is not about to happen. We have nuclear weapons. We haven't used them. We have cyber weapons, and we've seldom used them. The United States did do a cyber attack on Iran and destroyed some nuclear centrifuges.
Yeah, good work.
But this is a contingency, and it's very unlikely that it'll be used by nation states. The real worry is that eventually non-state actors, maybe even terrorist groups, will gain this capability.
There it is. You can't see them. You can't fight them. You can't drop a bomb on their country because they're lone wolves. They're non-state actors and terrorists. They've all been radicalized by the terrorist narrative.
Is that the real threat, Congressman?
Yeah, it is the real threat. Yeah. Richard hit it right on the point right now.
It's not like we're working together or anything.
Right now, these worst weapons and cyber weapons are in the hands of nation states who have the capability, but not necessarily the will to use them. But then you have groups like ISIL or Al-Qaeda that certainly would have the intent, but not the weapons. And that gap, that divide, if you will, is becoming much more narrow, and eventually the worst actors will have the worst weapons, and they potentially will use them against us. I've been trying to raise the alarm on this, as Richard has been, to try to close that aperture of vulnerability. This is not a problem that we're ever going to solve. It's one that we need to manage. We need to close the aperture of vulnerability to something that is much more manageable.
Close the aperture of vulnerability. I like that. Close the aperture of vulnerability.
These guys, it's endless.
That's a good one, though. Close
endless.
The aperture. Yeah, let me put this broomstick in your aperture of vulnerability.
So what we need to do in Congress is pass an information sharing bill. That bill passed almost unanimously out of the House Intelligence Committee, which I said.
Right. It's all about the Feinstein bill.
It gets better.
Passed the House with strong bipartisan support, and now we're waiting for the Senate to take it up. That would allow classified threat information to be passed to the private sector, and for the private sector to pass the threats or the attacks that they are experiencing back to the government.
What could possibly go wrong? Just pass.
Well, I like the way they do it. It's gonna be the government passing the threats to the private sector, then being passed back to the government. Yeah. It's really just about getting information from the private sector.
Yeah, and you know what the private sector includes?
By strong arming them.
Yeah, the private sector includes telephony and companies like this. This is what that is. And there's a new bill. Let me see if I can find this quickly. I thought it was. Oh, here it is. Maybe it's this. No. There's so many new bills being proposed. I can't find this one offhand. It'll crop up later. Let us move then to a bill that is being proposed, which I believe will certainly become law. And oh man, here we go. We haven't even talked about this yet today. I'm sorry. This is here it is. I found this. It's not a bit. It's the presidential memorandum. That's what I was looking for in regards to this. In regards to Ebola. Presidential memorandum for the Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development, the USAID. Subject: authorizing the exercise of authority under Public Law 85-804. By the authority vested me in the President by the Constitution and the laws, I hereby direct the following. The Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development is authorized to exercise authority under Public Law 85-804 as amended to the same extent and subject to the same conditions and limitations as the head of an executive department or agency listed in Section 21 of Executive Order 10789 of November 14th, 1958. As amended with respect to contracts performed in Africa in support of USAID's response to the Ebola outbreak, where the contractor, its employees, or subcontractors will have exposure to Ebola and the dangers surrounding the exposure to Ebola. This authority may be exercised for the purpose of holding harmless and indemnifying contractors with respects to claims, losses, or damage arising out of or resulting from the performance of the contracts in the course of performing these contracts to the fight of Ebola. This is a very interesting little piece of law, which I was unaware of.
Okay. Now you're going to have to also explain how you managed to make this leap from Feinstein's Chambliss to Ebola.
Because it's all part of the same idea. To indemnify companies when they share your information, when the government shares information back, when you have a contract. Right now it's Ebola, and I didn't know about this law, 85-804, and I have not had time, since I only found it this morning, to find out if this will also be applied to the cyber sharing bill, the cyber information sharing bill. A complete indemnification if you do it. This is what everyone was so mad about when we had the warrantless wiretaps, mainly AT&T, when the president and the lawmakers indemnified the telephone companies, the telephony companies, for doing this. It's the same thing.
Kind of an interesting idea if you can just get Congress to pass these indemnification laws. You can't sue anybody.
Exactly. No one goes to jail. No one goes to jail. No one goes to court.
Right. It's actually pretty slick.
It's the same. We know it's with vaccines. We know there's complete indemnification.
Yeah, the vaccines are all, you can do whatever you want now. Make crap. Just make it just dog shit in a needle and give it, too bad. So what? We're calling it a vaccine, so you're toast, whatever you feel like. You can't sue us.
Mali. Now we know from our economic hitman, Mali was high on the list. they've got the Ebola. It's confirmed now. France will be screening arrivals from Mali for Ebola.
Yeah.
And,
another one.
And along with Facebook and Google, raising awareness of Ebola, which, again, I would like anyone to show. I mean, just go look at all the videos online. Look at any piece of footage. If there is $6 billion of money being poured into fighting this, show me the money. Show it to me. And show me the dead people, and show me the patients, and show me more than one person drinking some water, being assisted. Show me some bleed. I need to see some bleeding eyeballs. This is a scam, a huge scam, and it's about to be ratcheted up with that stupid ass Band-Aid 30 as now, and the BBC has hyped it up.
There we go again.
Yep. So the BBC. Now, if you're going to bring all these people together, all these superstars, which is Bono and One Direction, and
it's all the same ones.
Well, no, there's new people. They brought new people in. We still don't have the song. But, of course, you can just have everyone come to the studio and record it. But, oh, no. No. We had to have a huge press event with Bono, and throngs of people in press and big guardrails because, they discovered that this is where the stars were coming to record the new song.
Somehow they discovered.
The
media really does this research.
Many of the stars taking part in today's recording might not have been born when the first Band-Aid single was released, but they, just like those who featured on the original, know its significance. How do you feel about taking part in this today, of course, 30 years after you did the original Band-Aid single?
As I say, I wish we didn't have to do this, and there will come a time.
That's Bono.
When we won't.
Back in 1984, Do They Know It's Christmas raised £8 million for famine-hit Ethiopia. This time, it's to raise money to help tackle the Ebola crisis, which has claimed 5,000 lives in West Africa. All day, fans crowded outside the studio where the musicians recorded their individual lines and came together for the song's famous chorus.
At the end, they all just clapped themselves, and it is different. People sing differently now, So yeah, the old song is reborn,
If this kind of enthusiasm translates into sales, another number one seems guaranteed for the Band-Aid team next week. And they're hoping it will have just as big an impact as the original, not just in terms of money raised, but also in terms of raising public awareness. Lisa Zimba, BBC News.
There you go, public awareness. Yeah, we understand, because you're not on board with the program.
Geldof needs to make some cash flow.
Yeah, no, it's not really about that. This is about getting people on board. Another trinket. Here's a little show business trinket, everybody. You can take this and feel really good. And you can buy this, and you can change your Twitter icon to the Ebola virus, that little logo we've seen.
It should be a bleeding eyeball. That's what I'm going to find. Just get a bleeding eyeball and change your icon to the bleeding eyeball.
We want the bleeding eyeball. Very good idea.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
And it's just sad. It's just sad because this is a takeover of Western Africa. I know you're not quite on board with me on that yet, but you'll see. And,
I always thought that, but it's not just us. It's the British and the French are in on this.
Of course.
I do have a couple of clips I want to do before we finish.
Okay, good.
One of the things that I think we don't point it out enough about how the American public's being brainwashed by...
We don't point it out enough?
No, not that they're being brainwashed in a way that, as somebody once pointed out, is essentially poisoned the jury pool.
Ah, yes. Oh, like how DNA works and.
There's a lot of these things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the instant you shoot the guy and now you know who he is 5 minutes later.
Right.
But the one that's always being presentation of the way cops are supposed to act, and no cops would act this way. But the only way you can solve crime is by doing illegal stuff because you're the good guy, you're the cop. And so you end up with these sorts of, this is a trailer for one of the Blue Blood shows. And to me, this is the most objectionable content because it just makes it sound as though all the police should just be unprofessional and be like this.
2 tours in Fallujah. Brother who was killed in the line of duty. What do you do with all that anger?
Where is she?
Detective Daddy Reagan solves crime.
Do you have search warrants?
Do we have time for search warrants?
By any means necessary.
Yeah, we don't have time for search warrants. Yeah.
I find it extremely offensive.
Well,
we have time. We don't get a search warrant. We don't have time for search warrants.
One of our producers, Glenn, who sends me very long emails from time to time. When he sends me a long email, I'm like, oh god. But there's good stuff in there. You know this girl who they thought was kidnapped and thought she was dead, and then it turns out she turns up in two states away. In social media, some 30-year-old guy, had said, "Hey, come hang out with me." Did you follow that?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so Glenn lives somewhere in that neighborhood, I guess. And when the minute this happens, and it's just based upon some mother going, "Hey, my kid's been kidnapped," lock down the neighborhood, and they said, "Oh, we have to search every single house." And Glenn went, "No, show me a search warrant." And he wrote me a War and Peace on how this went down. He finally was able to have uniform cops show up with an actual search warrant, but everyone else was like, "Oh, come on in, whatever, yeah." And he says it's just not acceptable. You say, "Oh, child," think of the children, and everyone just forgets about. And of course, when you say, "I'm sorry, you can't search my house without a search warrant," then you basically did it. You must be the guy. But we've forgotten our rights, and this is very important, and this is exactly what you propagate it like this. Who has time for a search warrant? We've got lives on the line here.
I find it disgusting. It's a shame.
This is one of the few countries, I think, where we have this.
No, we don't have it for long.
Well, it'll be on the books. It's just not observed. You go like Amsterdam. You have to have ID. The cops will stop you and say, "Show me your ID." What are you doing? What are you doing here? Well, yeah, we have in New York. We have stop and search, which is
they just stop you out of the blue.
Kind of been stopped, but not really.
I have one EU related story since you brought that up, just right there and now.
Okay,
and I thought this was a strange kind of a report on, I think it was France Van Cat, and it was about Juncker and how, and then at the end of this little clip, it says to me that the EU is not going to be friendly toward business in any way, which I think will help expedite the falling of the euro personally. But if you think about the story and the logical things that Juncker should have done or should be like, or why is he apologizing, all this, you'll come to the same conclusion, I believe. Play this story.
Has spoken on this the first time since these Luxembourg leaks. He's denied he was the best friend of business during his 19 years as Prime Minister of Luxembourg. The EU Commission President was defending himself after the revelations that hundreds of companies were allowed sweetheart deals in his country that allowed them to pay tax of, in some cases, less than 1%. His comments come ahead of this weekend's G20 Summit in Brisbane, which will be focused on cracking down on global tax avoidance. With the details, here's Charlotte Hawkins.
He's kept a low profile over the past week, ever since revelations that Luxembourg made secret deals allowing hundreds of companies to avoid tax, while he was Prime Minister. But on Wednesday, President of the European Commission Jean-Claude Juncker defended himself in front of MEPs, facing boos from far-right parties.
I won't apologize for what I've done for my country. Clearly, I am politically responsible for everything that the tax administration did.
Juncker governed Luxembourg for 19 years, but insists he was not the architect of the tax regime that allowed companies to save millions. While these businesses funneled money through Luxembourg, it deprived other countries' governments of much-needed revenue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is the Luxembourg deal that they got going on there.
Yeah, a couple of things. These Luxembourg we're talking about, for starters, which is supposed to be business friendly. So why is he apologizing? And why is he getting booed by the right wingers who are supposed to be, less government, more toward business? This doesn't make sense either.
No. Well, this is Jean-Claude Juncker, the drunker, who I think the so-called right-wingers, they're just jealous. Hey, wait a minute. How can we didn't get in on this deal?
Well, that could be. I never thought of that.
The EU is a big... you
it's
always
a
say,
mess.
Yeah. We saw, this is the genesis of this very show is the Lisbon Treaty. And all of this was predicted. It was easy to see. The peoples of the European Union member states have given up. They don't. They're children being born who don't even know any better. But yeah, there's the two places. They got two headquarters. Yeah, because they couldn't agree on where to have it, and all your money goes to Brussels, and no one there is elected, and they run the show, and they got an army, and they're going to take over your banks, and yeah, and yeah. I don't know what you're trying to tell me with this clip, other than that's it.
That's it. Well, I don't know. Just another clip to reiterate.
It's screwed.
And of course, one of our contacts about the Mexican situation, which we'll discuss more obviously in a few weeks if we can figure out what's going to come of it, is they say Spain is just borderline going that way too.
Yeah, well, we had the whole Catalonia thing, which we have yet to hear the results. We know what the results will be.
No, the results came out.
They're illegal, is whatever the results are. It's illegal.
Illegal. No, there was a yes, let's break away. It was like 30, like 60%, something like that.
Rock and roll. Everyone's all on board. Sure. That's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, just look at the Basque experience.
I just wanted to respond to one thing that I heard on the Dvorak Horowitz program, which I listened to in the plane on my way here.
Oh.
You had a question, neither you or Andrew Horowitz. I enjoy your program very much, by the way, which is unrehearsed and already in progress. And I enjoyed very much, but you did not understand this bit, and I have the president talking about it today because it's apropos.
If you missed your chance to get covered last year, here's the good news. Starting November 15th, today, you can go online and get covered for 2015. And we've spent the last year improving and upgrading Healthcare.gov to make it faster and easier to use. If you already buy health insurance through the online marketplace, now's the time to take a look at some of the new options for next year. You might be able to save more money or find a plan that fits your family's needs even better than the one you've got now. If you haven't signed up for insurance yet, this is your chance. Odds are you'll qualify for tax credits to help you afford it. But this window won't stay open forever. You only have 3 months to shop for plans, so it's worth starting right away. And it might make a big difference for your family's bottom line.
And the question that was posed on the otherwise outstanding Dvorak Horowitz Unplugged program was, what is going on with this enrollment window? And I wanted to explain.
Let me reiterate. I've always found it peculiar that when you're signing up for something, there is an enrollment window.
Yes.
In other words, I have 3 months to do this. Why can't I do it before the window opens or after the window closes? Why can't I do it whenever I feel like it?
And I know the answer because I found myself without health insurance for myself and my wife, and the window was not open. And I said, hello, I'd like to buy some insurance. And they said, I'm sorry, the window is not open. You cannot buy insurance. You can go to Cobra, which is, well, that's kind of like the Whole Foods of insurance. Here's all my money until the window opens. And the reason is, if the window was always open, you would more than likely not get insurance until something happened. And they don't want that to happen. So, I got cancer. Oh, crap, maybe I should enroll. You see how this works?
You have an open window 24/7 for 360 the whole year for auto insurance. Why can't you take that argument and put it to, you have to have a window to, because you don't do that, because if you crash your car, you'll go get insurance. I
think it's a little different. When you crash your car or when something happens, the damage is apparent and documented and done. And dates are known. You can't just file a claim without...
Now take another shot at this, since you're not going to buy it.
Nope.
Let me try this one. You find out you got cancer during the open window.
Yes.
And then you get your insurance.
That's the pre-existing condition. So they know that there's...
Fine. Well, then why don't you have the pre-existing condition all year round? You can do it during the window.
No, you're missing the point. Think like an insurance guy. Think like an insurance guy, not like John, smart, who doesn't want to screw people necessarily. Think like an insurance guy. Okay, look, if they could make the window 3 weeks instead of 3 months, they'd do it. And by the way, no better time than during Christmas shopping season. This is a great time to do it. No, the whole point is, if you find out if someone breaks their leg, I guarantee you, there are people that, hey, Johnny, you broke your leg? Hobble around until I get this insurance thing set up. Don't tell anybody. And then we'll say, well, you'll fall down and we'll call in. We'll get it fixed. This is what it's for, John. And I understand it, too. It never used to be this way. Please look at pet health insurance. The minute you could get health insurance for your pet, and I know lots of people who do this, that's when a visit to the pet doctor, the veterinarian, became minimum $350. Because that's how insurance works. It's a scam.
How about this?
Let me give you another example. Mickey has medication for her thyroid. She cannot get more than a 30-day supply. Only 6, so she wants 60 because she's traveling. No, 30 days only. And it all has to do with the cutoff dates and the pricing and the insurance, which is very expensive, as it turns out. Some thyroid medication, $500 a month or something. So I understand they want to keep a lid on this, and then actually rather hope that you forget it and die. It's cheaper.
Well, yeah, no, they'd like you to die. That's the way to go. Well, okay, I'll let this slide. I'm just thinking there's other arguments I can make. I'm sure it just seems annoying.
Yeah. Well, yes, it is annoying.
Well, how about this?
He's going to keep trying.
I got one. You have insurance.
Yes.
The window opens. You can change your insurance to a different carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you do that all year round?
Well, for most people, as I will find out the next time the window's open, your insurance will pretty much be canceled. You'll have to move to another plan, which is going to cost you more money. This windows is not a good thing. The president says, you may be able to get cheaper insurance. A plan that better fits your family.
Well, right, but take a note of the time when you just did that.
Yeah. Okay. Number one insurance scam guy salesman in the world. I'm sorry. Do you have anything positive to go out on? Give me something positive.
Yeah, probably. Let me take a quick look.
I got a Dr. Kiki clip.
Oh, is it funny?
The thing that you want to, you hope for is that you'd get a flu that will be dangerous for the average person.
What? The thing that you want is to get a flu that will be dangerous to the average person?
Yes, because
is that what she said?
Yes, sir. This is because it will then force people to recognize the importance of getting flu shots. You want it to be dangerous because if people aren't dying from it in massive quantities, they'll never go for the flu shot. That's why you hope for this.
Play that again. Play it again.
The thing that you want to, you hope for is that you'd get a flu that will be dangerous for the average person. Shut up already. It's science.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
That's terrible she said that.
She's a little psychotic, I think. Something I've noticed along the way. All right, well, we made it through somehow, John. I think we did cover the most important bases, the G20 being the top of the list. Thank you for your updates. Remember, everybody, we hate Putin. Russia is dangerous because we need to have more sophisticated weaponry. And we'll do that without actual American soldiers in harm's way. And
that's the goal.
And remember, it's the terrorist narrative that will get your kids in trouble. And I shall be hanging out with DPG, my Uncle Don, on Monday and bringing you a full report on Thursday's show.
Yeah, at least what you can tell us.
I will tell you he won't tell me something I can't say.
Good.
That's what Aunt Meg does secretly. Coming to you from FEMA Region 2 here in Gotham in the city of New York. Thanks for bearing with us there on the stream in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak, where like I said before, we got no nuts to roast.
And we will be back on Thursday with more of your media deconstruction right here on No Agenda.
Ebola. Whoa, whoa. Ebola. Whoa.
The thing that you hope for is that you'd get a flu that will be dangerous for the average person.
It was worth it. It was worth it. And her head is gone.
That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's all, folks.
And that's the story.
It is scary and wretched and miserable. It is gross.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA